EGB, your esports betting world. The only place to find the widest choice of popular games and matches to win real money. Choose your bet on a single event or express of several matches with dizzy odds. Serving the market for 7 years with over 800,000 users. Join now to get your bonus for the first deposit up to $600. EGB, you know for sure who's gonna win.
There is nothing permanent except intelligence stacks on a silencer, agility steel on a slark, flash heap on a pudge, legion commanders dual damage, and your noobs playing Invoker.
Incredible quote there. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main stage of Mount Olympus here in Omega League. Once again, we bring you the Lords of Olympus's greatest games with our most wonderful gladiators. My name is Sir Action Lex. I will be your host for Series 1. But who cares about me when we got a panel like this? Ladies and gentlemen, may I present the greatest of all time, Bananer Slammer Jammer. And his friend, the Governor.
The wingman, the Robin, if you will.
Wow.
The Robin of the Slamma-Jamma. I can't imagine.
We're great friends. We go way back.
Wait, have you guys met before?
About 3 weeks ago, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic. Oh, yeah, you covered the groups, right?
Yeah, we cover the groups, yeah.
Oh,
Neighbors, too. It's great. Yeah.
no, that's great.
He gets to hear me screaming in my pubs, good or bad.
Yeah.
Oh,
You said you were going to ask me about my pubs, and he said I know about his pubs. I get the audio alerts
wow.
randomly.
Yeah, it's great. I lived the BO3 experience. You know, this man, he's so vulgar when he hits the mute key on his stream. His Twitch, I think he's not. He's so vulgar.
They don't even know what they're
They
missing.
just don't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Do you play with your webcam on, Brian?
Yes.
That's creepy. So you
But the
just
days
stream
that
it?
I'm like, that he's really talking about, I
Yeah.
have to turn it off.
I like-
Otherwise,
Yeah.
people can like lip read
I
and
gotta
you gotta
tune
be
in.
careful about
No,
that kind of
exactly.
stuff.
I gotta tune in and see what's happening, and it's like, what the hell are you doing? Webcam's off. Very scary.
Goodness gracious. Well, gentlemen, are you ready for today's first series? It is going to be a nail-biter. We've got these two teams. Any ideas? What do you think?
What two teams do we have, Slack?
Well, they're right here. What
We have Team Unique and Empire. Don't
Yeah,
ask such stupid
Team
questions to
Unique
Slacks, please.
and Team
Honestly.
Empire.
That's insulting his intelligence.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. We don't need to talk about Team Unique and Empire like this.
Yes, thank you.
No worries.
So anyway, we saw Team Empire, or at least I saw Team Empire personally the other day in one of my days, but I've yet to have any meetings with this unique, as it were, team. What can you tell me about them?
They're a bunch of stellar chaps, mate. They're not too bad. You know, captained by Vanscore.
Van Score?
Yeah,
That's a name I
exactly, a
recognize.
little throwback name. So
Holy woly.
yeah, these lads, they had a pretty good run in the closed qualifiers. I think they then got demolished by 5 men, unfortunately, as it happens. And now they're here in the Divine Group, but they are, I think, 3-0 so far and just looking pretty formidable.
3-0?
3-0 compared to the Empire, who are 0-2. So this is like a best v worst situation. Can Empire bounce back? Can Unique just continue being dominant?
Uh-oh. What do you think?
Yeah, that's about what I saw in the closed qualifiers. Team Unique was one of the contenders, I believed, for making it out of the Divine Division into the Immortal, but definitely fell a bit short. It's pretty noticeable, the difference between the two teams that got out and the teams that were behind. I put them in the same category as Hellraisers, where they were definitely on my list of teams that were, once again, contenders for the Immortal Division. But on the other hand, I haven't really seen much good from Team Empire during this or the closed qualifiers. Yeah, they had glimmers of hope some places, but most of all, it seems like the team's kind of trying to find their groove. Whether or not that's the roster, whether or not that's the play style, just seems like their identity is not set in stone.
Extremely shaky, especially after yesterday when we see them GG out 15 minutes. Of course, you could argue it's like they're 10k down, they're already like hard counted type of thing. You could argue, okay, just get out of the game, preserve your kind of team kind of dynamic, but the fact that you're just GGing out at this point and you're already like in a bad spot, you should probably muscle through that game and show some fortitude, but unfortunately they just kind of pieced out and now they're here today. So
yes. I forgot about that. That was indeed hilarious.
it was so great. We had such a quick day, right?
That was a wild one. But yeah, Empire was kind of a rocky road, so I'm pretty excited to see this unique team. Did you guys cover these games personally? Did you watch
Like
it?
during the close qualifier?
Yeah.
I saw a bit of Unique.
Oh, okay.
I think I saw every team at least once. There were only like 5 of us paneling / casting for that. So I would say they basically looked far better than the teams that were in the bottom of the bracket, and then they seemed to struggle a little bit, maybe take a game off the teams that were in the upper part of the close qualifiers. So I really would put them in the solid like 3rd to 5th area where they look like they can perform as a team. So they've got that solid cohesion going, but it's not something that's good enough to take them to the next level just yet. So it's all about refining that and optimizing it, I'd say.
And we've seen a lot of teams go from this kind of tier 2 into this tier 1 kind of phase, you know. What do you think is one of the most important things of bridging that gap, gentlemen?
Consistency.
Consistency.
Making sure that your bottom line is still at like the average of what tier you're in. If your bottom line is far below, then you'll drop a lot of games. You won't be able to kind of maintain yourself within like difficult series. So you might be able to be great in some times, but I don't care about your great times. I care about the overall average.
Well, that's probably not good for a team like Empire. GG's out at 15. I mean, that's a low bottom line. But, that makes a lot of sense. You concur, Mr.
Yeah,
J?
I think it's when you talk about consistency, it's about not giving away free games, whether or not that's in the draft, whether or not that's mistakes you make during the game. The tier 1 teams, they make you earn everything. I think I heard Kyle say that a while back, and one of the few things he said that's resonated with me. And it's all about the fact that you have to work for every little bit you get from them, whether or not that's the full game, whether or not that's a single objective in the game itself. So with these tier 2, tier 3 teams, sometimes they just lose a game in the draft. Like they will GG at 15 minutes, or sometimes they'll mess up the laning stage where, maybe they oriented the heroes in the wrong spots and suddenly they're down by 3K at 8 minutes. That just doesn't happen with tier 1 teams.
Yeah, I think if you look at that previous Empire game, this is the one we're talking about, right? They're 18-5 down against BO3. They GG out. For these guys, they clearly see their draft as we win if we do this. Because they didn't have that action occur, they were like, well, we have no chance. Like, that's not the making of a strong team, right? If you don't know how to play when things don't go your way in terms of like the draft or the play style, then of course you're going to be on the back foot. So, for example, OG is so good because they can always change up the game plan based on what the game state's in.
But T-Governor, what about TI4? That grand final game was over in 12 minutes, and they just said, well, we lost this strategy, it's over, and those were tier 1 teams.
I slept through that one, mate. I won't lie.
I'm just kidding. Nobody watched TI.
I was about to say, TI4 is definitely the TI we do not speak of. On my tier list, that's the bottom of the barrel.
Real talk, though. That was an actual... People have this bad connotation with TI4, and it was actually a pretty hype event.
There were some really good games.
There were some amazing games.
I remember the Sing Sing Meepo.
Yes.
I remember those games.
TI4 was a lit event until we got to grand finals. Then it got real rough. But
The issue is I got into Dota as TI4 was like the main event. Like I watched highlights of TI3, and then TI4 was like, this is what Dota is. And I was like, oh my God.
Oh,
what?
no.
And I was like, oh wow, I don't care. Then it stagnated, then I bounced back after. But yeah, TI4.
That was the first one I went to. Like
Really?
I was physically at TI4, and I just remember when EG lost in the 3rd place game. The stands were empty for the finals because there's just
Damn,
it's
dude.
two. I mean, there's just 2 Chinese teams that nobody like the play style.
Got it. BO3.
It was in Seattle, man. Like nobody like really cared about that. There was no home field to root for.
Don't worry,
No
guys.
Western
We'll
team.
replace BO3 with 2 events.
we AR'd an audience in there, bro. Don't tell people that.
I'm saying that there was like.
mannequins.
I'm saying that you had to find a seat like 45 minutes before the EG game started.
Sure.
On the finals, it was like half
So it was just
full.
better for
We
you.
know what you're saying. We're asking you to stop saying.
I'm not-
You
I'm
don't
not-
have to keep saying it in different ways.
It was empty.
Shut up.
Empty.
I get it.
Gone.
If I could name the crowd as a hero, I would say Ricky.
Oh, wow, creative.
Wow, real
Very good.
great humor.
Ladies
This is what you
and
get on the
gentlemen, he made a
BSJ stream.
meme. Oh my goodness.
Dank one, eh?
Yo, speaking of which, while we're on topic, what's your favorite TI of all time? You only get to pick one. And no personal bias. It has to be about gameplay. All right? No, it was my first TI and Gaben winked at me and shot me a little air kiss. I'm talking about gameplay only.
Honestly, TI8.
Yeah.
TI8.
Yeah, I'd have to say TI8 too. It's just the euphoria of watching the OG story, right? It's such an obvious story. Like, it's hard to beat that now, right?
It is.
It was the first time that I had like a Dota LAN party watching TI, staying up.
I said no personal stories. No.
But I thought I wanted to add it, Slacks. It's just meaningful, it's so great. And also, the other ones are old. No one cares about old TIs now. It's the last like 1, maybe 2
Okay.
You got to re-earn your spot.
I think people would fight for TI3. I think a lot of people would say TI3 was
TI8, TI3, and TI5.
Yeah.
For me.
Yes, that's the best answer actually. Yeah, good.
I'd have to say TI6 because
Wings.
of course DC making their rise and that was incredible. And Wings.
But like Misery didn't win it though, and he holds the grudge. So
Who cares?
can't bring it up.
I'm on the team, but I don't care that they didn't win.
The issue with TI6 was I just felt like Wings was on a whole nother level than any other team. in the
Ah,
tournament.
okay.
So I thoroughly think they're one of the most enjoyable runs to see win all of TI, but the games themselves, like even the finals, weren't all that exciting. And I don't think you'll ever have a finals better than TI8.
Yeah, that was good. TI8 was incredible.
And what's the crowd like for that one? Was it full BSJ or was it not?
Oh yeah, how was the crowd level?
Yeah,
Was it
yeah,
Ricky or not Ricky?
The crowd was absolutely full for that one.
Jesus. Yeah, one of my favorite memories actually. That was the first year that they did the late game show, and I'm in the bar. The bar is packed with Pyrian Flax. We're watching
he's a good champ.
the goddamn handshake, the fly no tail
God.
after the game. I swear to God, Pyrian Flax sitting at the bar and he just starts hitting it. He goes, handshake, handshake, and the whole bar is erupting. Everybody's shit faced, and it was like a real sporting event. Just a bunch of drunk guys screaming at a screen, handshake, and then No Tail walks by him, and the whole bar, screaming at the top of their lungs. We woke up the entire city that night. It was great. But favorite TI memory. By the way, our teams are setting up, so don't be mad at us. A little problem, but we're just having some fun regales. And if you're a new Dota 2 player, I'm just kidding.
For the 4 or 5 of you out there.
Just kidding, guys. There are none. But what was that?
So a player on Team Unique called 19Teen.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
We have a B-Day today.
What's his name going to be now, though? Is it like 20T?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. That's the issue.
Wow.
Here.
19T, a player, has his birthday today. You're not a teen anymore, dumbass. Now you're a man. That sucks. Nothing to look forward to. You get one more year, then you're legal to drink in America. You're probably already legal to drink in whatever country that is.
It's Russia.
Russia.
Yeah.
Ah, yes, a very far away monitor. But yes, you can already legally drink, so all goals are over. Now it's just marriage, kids, the midlife crisis, and death. So hope you had fun.
And the Divine League. Don't forget the Divine
And the
League.
Divine League! The
On the
championship!
way!
TI10!
No, 19. Sorry.
But no, a beautiful year. Enjoy leaving your teenage years behind and becoming a big boy. A big boy now. Anyway, favorite TI memories. Go. This, whatever you want. What sticks with you the most? What do you think about your
It was
great-
probably Kyle and I were going to do the late show for the very end of TI8, where we were doing it right after. And so the late show itself, the whole thing leading up to it was story like where we had to be there early, right? So we thought during game 4 of the TI8 finals that we were like, oh, we got to get out of here. They were down by 15, 20K or something. We got to head over and make sure we're there in time.
no.
And then suddenly we're like watching this game and their comebacks over the course of like 30 minutes. And we're like, hey, should we go back? Should we run back to the arena? So Kyle and I end up going back to the arena, then watching game 5 and then having to sprint over, and then OG's running through and they're all like, euphoria going nuts. And then obviously I got pranked on stream or whatever by Pyrian Flax. Definitely one of the funniest moments of my entire career. So
That
whole
incredible.
hour period was fantastic for me. Never forget it.
Spending a month living in China to come dead last at TI9.
That's your favorite memory.
Yeah, my favorite.
Yikes. But what was that like? I mean, that's a unique experience for you.
No, it was interesting. It was like the first time that second time I've been to China, but then just the boot camping there and all that kind of setup was kind of weird. And obviously being the British boy going to TI as a assistant coach to the team, it's just a whole brand new wave of experience. So yeah, it was great overall.
So who was to blame?
They know.
Damn.
They know.
God damn.
Not going to name any names, but you're going to make sure everyone...
Yeah, but yeah, like if these were like the positions on the team,
Yeah.
it's like 1 to 5.
Yeah.
Gonna be like this one.
Okay.
Oh, he's just
Yeah.
flipping off
Yeah.
BSJ. That's-
Yeah,
he's-
and then like this one here. You know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, them.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So
I
he
could've-
basically said...
Here we go.
himself.
Here we go.
Let's go. Where you at?
Jeez. You know, I wish that we could come out with those backhand stories, you know,
Oh, it'd be
of
so
our
good.
experiences. I'm telling you, whoever writes the first esports tell-all book, that's the one. No offense to my two boys that are already out there writing esports books, but whoever's got that, when Cyborg Matt comes out with his tell-all book, holy Jesus, is that going to sell a million copies?
The
I'll
amount
buy
of
that.
after-party secret single-handedly
Oh.
for events. Oh.
Gee, you know, if people still rent books, I'd do one right now and just retire. Screw working events anymore. I'd just burn all of you people. All your stories.
You don't know me.
Be a millionaire. I could always make shit up. Who's going to believe that?
That's so true, actually.
I definitely feel like a
no.
lot of the
My
stuff
crib.
you would make up, people would believe there's no way you could have made it up. And that would give it more validity just on paper, but
terrible.
little do they know, they have no idea what goes through that head of yours.
Yeah, well. Hey, a draft. That's going through my head right now.
heroes. Big
Welcome to the game one, ladies and gentlemen. Team Empire versus Team Unique. And we're about to see a not-so-unique draft coming out right now. We've got Venomancer and Magnus, the Magnator. What's his lore, T-Governor?
That's your job, mate.
No, just tell me it. Just what do you think it is?
I'm not,
You've heard his voice lines.
I don't play with like voice lines that loud, mate.
You don't play with voice lines.
It's like 1% volume, if that.
Goddamn insult. All right.
Could you please inform me, though?
No.
Okay.
Clockwork coming out at the next pick here. Bands, nothing special either. Phoenix, Darkseer, Rubik, and Doom. I challenge you to name one other hero that hasn't been in almost every single game in the pick and ban phase. BSJ, any very easy snipes here for pick 2?
Spectre?
Still unbanned. Fantastic point there,
That's
Mr. Slammer.
one of the heroes that fit the description you gave. Oddly vague, but specific at the same time.
What's the lowest Spectre, though?
All I only know is all of her voice lines are backwards.
Really?
That's very good.
Wow.
Very.
Wow.
Yeah, it's her. Whatever she's saying, like on the
Oh.
the text, is just her saying it backwards.
Thank you.
That's all I know about Spectre.
Mm.
So I'm sure that has something to do with her storyline. Like there's something in there.
You would think so, but no. At any rate, waiting for that next pick here.
Draft-wise, it's interesting to see how Unique favored the Magnus over the Venomancer, with both being available for first pick. The obvious argument is Veno does beat Magnus in the game plan of no initiation, but fundamentally Magnus is simply just the empower boy, aura buyer, doesn't always have to get that blink straight away, he can go for it later, so yeah, overall.
You know, it seems like every meta has that poor aura boy. It's either Ogre Magi or it's Magnus. It's some hero that's simply been relegated to pressing a button and standing there. Magnus seems like he has a pretty fun job though. Like he gets to RP once in a while, maybe, which is pretty hype.
Kinda.
All I
If you
know
hit
is
him.
the games where I played Mag offlane and I turned into an Aura bot, those games are usually miserable because you usually turn into an Aura bot because your hero's not good in the game. Like because the enemy team has drafted in a way that makes it hard to RP.
Yeah.
So not only are you now an Aura bot, but you also have less items and you're in a bad Mag game. So all that stuff you just said doesn't apply at all. Like you just get to sitting back pushing W, and if you hit like a 2-man RP, that's like the dream.
If you hit any of
Dream, man.
Yeah.
Woo! All right, Snapfire picked out here, which is quite the opposite. What a fun hero, you know? Super mobile, super involved. Always feels like she's very relevant in these fights, which I think is a pretty unique in these games that we've been seeing. Even if Snapfire's super far away, she gets to do more skisses. If she's in the front line, she gets to, you know, do the cookie and even the scatter blast. So, seems like useful hero.
What's your view on the Ags? I've not seen a lot of people even try and pick
The
third one.
Ags.
Because the Ags is actually like bonkers.
It's super good. That's
so
a great point. How come
It's really hard for me to have any experience because all my experience is in pubs where I built 3 Ag Scepters on her like way back.
But what was
and
the
it was
average
me yelling at my teammates, please come close enough to me to launch you. Please come over here. And
But if we then took that knowledge and then tried to
Apply it
into a team logic,
I wouldn't do that.
Could it not be? I wouldn't do it. No.
Continue.
Wouldn't it be a potentially very strong item because it takes away that initiation? So, for example, Magnus with the Blink Dagger, you completely mitigate that Veno counter. It gives you that stun instantly.
No, I do like the Ags on her.
Yeah.
It's hard to say whether or not she can afford to get it most games unless she's maybe a 4.
How do you get that money?
She does farm pretty well, but
Yeah.
it's 4,200 gold.
I mean,
Depends on the role. We've seen the Snapfire being played mainly in 4 and 3. Current patch barely has it really been a 5. So there is quite a lot of farm available. I'd argue if you're 3, you'd want to go Greaves and just be Aura Boy. But if you're 4, then you kind of open up yourself to do what you want, right? You're a 4.
Yeah. It's just at that point, if you have a 4 snap buying Ags, I feel like you'd rather have the Earth Spirits or something
That's
that
true.
kind of
You are missing a lot of
itself
stuff.
rather than something that's like launching in people.
Game's kind of over by then, right? If the Snapfire has an
It
ag.
just kind of reminds me of Sniper Ags, but it doesn't change the
That
game.
was such a sad period of time when the 4 snipers.
That was one of the there's been like 2 bad metas in this game. Tinker Sniper and then just Sniper later.
Sniper alone,
Just get rid of the hero.
So irrelevant.
Sniper and Morphling. Every patch we have to worry about, this Morphling interaction really broken this time. Just delete them.
Yeah.
Ice Frog, we're reverting shit anyway. Revert to pre-Sniper. No one gives a shit anymore.
But it's worse when the cosmetic came out for Sniper with the quack thing. Because like headshot alone, you could deal with. But when you had that obnoxious thank you, it's like...
Is there actually a Sniper mains out there?
I'm sure. Yeah,
there are people that just play Sniper? Would anyone be sad if the hero was deleted?
I honestly think he's super fun to play.
Well, you would.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But I never play him because he's always bad.
Right.
So I don't get the luxury of, picking a hero I feel like playing.
Honestly, the first time I saw any footage from Dota 2, I saw a sniper, and I was like, wait, isn't this a game with, like, medieval people and bows and swords? This sniper guy's gonna be OP. The dude's got a goddamn gun.
Yeah.
And that was my first impression. I always find it so surprising that I'm still right. Like, the dude just has a gun. He just shoots people from half the goddamn map away. What do you do? I mean, he's got a freaking weapon.
That's why we have turn rates and move speed.
Wait, what?
What?
So that helps you against a gun, I guess? Do you quickly
What I'm
dodge it,
saying
or-
is, I know there's characters similar in a game that should not be named, and in that game there's no turn rates and all that jazz, so
wow.
they kite very easily. But Sniper, on the other hand, he's like 290 move speed with terrible turn rate, so once you get on top of him, he's done.
I hate when I get in those street fights with my 290 move speed against a gun.
I'll tell you one thing.
Sadly, that gun only hits for 40 damage in this game, level 1 instead
When
of...
I'm in an alley and a dude pulls out a gun, my turn rate is unbelievable. Even the person standing next to me, I don't give a shit. All right?
Phasies do real good.
Turn rates really increase when you push the other person on the ground and then run. But anyway, Grimstroke, another very popular hero, as well as the Void Spirit. What is this? Is this post-TI pubs? Void Spirit and Snapfire? We gotta nerf these 2 heroes. They're still too strong, gentlemen.
Yeah, I'm kind of weirded out by this Grimstroke pick, because all the heroes like Sven and Wraith King with like a single target stun that kind of synergize with it don't make sense to me against the Clock Venno, and then Ricky's already banned out. So, like, who's your Grimstroke partner here?
I'm seeing it less as a partner, but more of the, this Venom is an off lane, you need that 5 that can take over the lane if your carry needs to leave, right? You need someone who can push out the wave quite cleanly and still play the map. So this Grimstroke pick, it allows them to push out waves quickly on supports and still be active across the rest of the map. Then
Ember
they pick
actually makes
Ember,
sense here.
They then pair as well. You have a very strong laning duo because these are pretty darn aggressive. And it's still the same principle. If Ember goes to gank, Grim can still occupy that lane, then TPing in to be super effective.
That's fantastic analysis. Damn, T-Governor.
Thank you.
This is the springboard to the rest of your career.
Maybe.
It's great to have someone on the panel that I actually continue to listen to. Should see me on a fog panel. Holy Jesus. Anyway.
I can't respond to that.
Well, this is your chance. Take him down. Like, yeah, I'm better than
We'll have a bar fight with me and Fogged.
Hell yeah. Dude, that would...
Wait, who would win?
I'd watch that.
Yeah, who would win actually? I was like, I'm weak and also extremely short, have no muscles,
Yeah.
and no confidence. So yeah, I don't think
Fog fits about that description as well, so...
Yeah.
this would be terrible.
I'd pay money.
Okay, let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's see that stretch goal for the next TI.
Go fund me.
If you...
If you head on over to the EGB bet odds, you'll find out the slacks and
Dude, they'd pay.
they would, yeah,
They would.
that'd be great.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Grand Finals post-game is going to be...
In between the series of the grand final, it's like cast, round of fight, cast, round of fight.
Dude, honestly, I mean, the Spartans, they used to do like the, the naked fighting and stuff.
Well, we're not getting naked.
Well...
It
How
would,
much
be,
money
it would
do
be
you want?
it would be the jelly fights or whatever you see in those
The
like
Jello
we
fights.
could do
Jello
like
fights, thank you.
Yeah, with like soap and like in the paddling pool type thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
those.
Okay. We'll work on that. Again, we got
Let's
a
make
long,
this happen.
We got a
Yeah.
long
Whatever it
lead.
takes.
We got a long
We'll
lead.
figure it out.
Yeah.
Logistics after the
Hey!
we'll worry about it after this
Oh, I
game.
don't like this drow pick. I won't like that.
Now, you said that last time a drought came out. You had that equally disgusted face when a drought
Yeah, no, it's
pick
kind of
came out.
vile. It's all about you have to try and protect this hero and keep it kind of cushioned. And right now, their heroes aren't heroes that statically play the map. They're always equally making these same moves. So when you start a team fight, your defensive kind of positioning never enables this Drow to feel confident.
Yo, hold up. Wasn't it Empire who picked the Drow last time as well? I think it might have been.
Maybe. I honestly don't know that one.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. If it was Empire, it lost. So picking it again.
I want to hear your thoughts on something I was thinking here, because I don't think I've ever stated this thought out loud, literally ever.
Oh my god.
Exclusive!
I want to hear what it sounds like, you know? And I don't want to care about Kyle's opinion.
no,
He's over
please,
there
focus.
thinking I care about it. Okay.
Go.
So, Drow is a hero that needs her teammates to be worried about her position at all times.
Correct.
So I feel like playing her with like Void Spirits and Clockworks, who have a lot to worry about in team fights, like their own spellcasting, hate having to worry about the positioning of their carry and how that affects their carry, thus making them very bad synergy with Drow. What do you think about that?
I fully agree, only because I believe I just said that, but Slats can correct me on that. But yes, no, I'm joking.
Did you actually just say that?
Yeah, I said it in a really bad way, and you said it in like the expert.
I didn't know you were actually saying that.
No. We're both.
I wasn't
equally
trying
right.
to like.
Congratulations.
Actually,
we're
okay,
both
thank
equal.
you.
It's a thing you do a lot. In case you forgot our last panel, where every claim I made, several minutes later, you just repeat it and say, before you started talking, here's what I thought, Mr. Slamma. Can we
No, but
talk
like that
about
is
this?
honestly is a really great point, and I wish
It
I
is a
thought
good
about
point.
that. It's really it is perfect.
I was just like, I couldn't pinpoint it in my head why I don't want to Drow with these heroes, but that's
The argument as well, the counter argument, memes aside, is because there's so many like go-getters in Team Empire's draft, Drow could be protected through the aggression of her lineup. If they're starting the fight, it's hard for Unique to first defend the initial engagement and then find the positioning and forward momentum to get onto the Drow. So the argument is, well, they don't have anyone defensive, but again, they have a lot of go. So, meme aside, that could be the reasoning why this card does look pretty good.
Hello. Let's take a look at these odds. Wow, whoa. Team Unique has got the odds on lock. Empire, what is that? Almost a 3-to-1 almost? My number skills are correct. I have to agree with them, though. Juggernaut has a lot of tempo. All these heroes are run-at-you heroes. Get in your face, except for Magnus, but, he's been having some rough times lately. And all these on Empire heroes kind of suffer when they get run at. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I honestly don't love Team Unique's draft all that much, but I also think that other than Veno, they don't have a great way to force objectives early on Team Empire. Drow is not the hero she used to be. Back when she just got free agility from her ult and that's all it did, she would take your towers the minute she got level 6. But now, she's more about the procs on creeps and heroes, so her ult power spike's more of either farming or fighting based.
Yeah.
So right now, excuse me, I just feel like they have so much space to farm with the Jug, Mag, and Power, and the Ember's going to be able to make space with the Grimstrokes Inkswell on top of them. So, I don't know. I think the game's going to go slower than Team Empire wants it to go, and I think that'll favor Unique here.
Yeah, I couldn't agree. Yeah.
I was trying to finish that point before I had to clear my throat, and
You
it just
did
kept getting
so,
worse.
so well,
It
yeah.
just kept getting worse.
It's getting more dry.
I even drank water before this, man.
You agree?
Yeah,
Mr.
I think, just this Drow lineup, they're going to do pretty well maybe early on, the tier 1s, tier 2s, but getting to that tier 3, it simplifies your defense. Magnus, Snapfire, these heroes will then just be super amplified, and eventually Mag Jug will just out-farm you, and they'll just take the game. So I think if Empire can show that they've kind of cleaned up their games from yesterday and actually can operate well as a team, then sure, they have a small window to do it, but they're fundamentally on a timer, and after watching them yesterday, that ain't going to work for them.
Well, these are some very intense claims that we're seeing here from our two analysts. The question is, will the casters believe the same? Ladies and gentlemen, the time has come for one of the greatest casters of all time. He started his career with a faux hawk, and now he rocks you at home. If you can take a moment to get ready for the one, the only Monopoly man himself, put your thimbles together for Dota Capitalist! And also, Kyle's there.
Wow, thank you so much for that warm introduction, Slacks. Honestly, touched me right to my heart. You made me feel like a king and this, my peasant. Or maybe a jester. I'm not sure which, because you're not even rocking the red, Kyle. What happened?
I forgot it.
Yeah,
I got it in my other... it's not important. Sorry, I was a little thrown off. Excellent introduction. One day I do hope to be royalty as well, but... yeah.
Well, here
Good
we
morning.
are. Good morning. So you guys have been watching these teams, right?
Yes.
You guys have been catching up on the Divine League, and I heard you guys talking about Team Unique, which I suppose on an international stage is really only well known for the fact that they're one of the few teams to manage to beat Secret in a series.
It's true.
ESL won Los Angeles, I believe, in the group stage. They actually 2-0'd them. That was with the same core of this roster. They've switched out, I believe, 2 different players. They still had Illusion, Vanscore, and their mid player, I believe.
I think you might be right, but I honestly have no idea.
Yeah, because Palantimos was on J178 at the time.
Yeah. They looked really good yesterday against Hellraisers. And I think that they definitely are one of the stronger teams here and would threaten to challenge Immortal League in the upcoming days. I don't know how I feel about the draft matchups, though. I like the concept both squads went for, just pretty basic damage amplification. But you'd have to consider the Mag Ember Jug is pretty damn solid. Like you just kind of play itself. And BZZ, can't believe the man's still here, but
yeah,
only offlane Mag.
Still sticking around, man. He actually just lost yesterday or the day before. Maybe this is where the Draw Ranger pick actually came in. They were talking about it on panel. They said maybe it was Empire drafted. It was actually Hellraisers, but they did beat Team Unique with a Draw Ranger against a Magnus. So maybe this is just something that Empire saw and is going to try and emulate themselves.
It's definitely a more frustrating lineup to play against. Brian had this really convoluted point about positioning and Drow Ranger and trigonometry or whatever was going on. But
yeah, he was getting a little math geeky on it.
Yeah, you do have a lot of area controlling tools. You got Veno wards, the clock stuff, you got the tornado that's going to come through. So Unique will have to take fights pretty crisp because it's so easy to be not counter initiated, but like whatever, not combo broke either, but disrupted, annoyed as you try and land kills.
Even just your straight up initiations, we're gonna watch the first blood here of Eknark go down against Illusion. Yeah, even just trying to get the initiation in the first place, right, against all of this tornado mixed with the Veno wards, it's gonna be hard for the Mag to be able to jump in and actually find some good openings.
Yeah, for sure. The mid matchup is the one I'd probably want to key in on. Ember versus Invoker on 19teen's birthday, turning 20.
Yeah.
More of a skill-based matchup. I think the Ember should win, or at the very least break even. He's got to be careful with Flame Guard usage and try to juke out any EMPs with Slight, already with a bottle up.
You know, Kyle, I'm a little bit torn just in this matchup because I actually would like to see Empire get their first win. Mostly because, I mean, this is a squad that is filled up with entirely new to competitive Dota players.
Yeah.
Almost entirely. Eknar's the oldest one of the group. He's been playing for about 6 years now.
Still a rookie, 6 years into his career.
When it comes to Dota, man, these careers, they last a long time. But most of these players haven't only played on like maybe one team beforehand that people would have heard on. And so I'd like to be able to see a young squad do well, but, I don't want to spoil 19's birthday.
True. I will say it's kind of incredible. You look at the longevity of certain players in the scene's careers. The amount of money in like prize pool has only been increasing for the last 5, 6, 7 years. But the same guys are still on top. Like that's just wild to me. You got to assume everyone in the scene's equally motivated. So how good do you have to be on top for like 7 consecutive years? So nothing but respect for the puppies and no-tails and crows of the world.
Yeah, true competitors, man.
And you got the young guns, Palomatinos.
Not going to continue the chase too far. Knows that the spin wouldn't kill him. And if he drifted out too far, it's an opportunity for Shotchlo to turn around and really pump out some damage. An older name of CIS alongside Vanscore. So definitely experience.
Shacklo too, man.
Yeah.
Old school Power Rangers player.
Yeah.
I personally like the Smiling Knight just because that's a very obscure reference to the Song of Ice and Fire universe.
I actually don't remember.
Cool name.
I'll be honest.
Jaime Lannister killed him in single combat. It's going in the White Book, but it's a whole other story. We're not going to get into the back end of that. That's for those
really
nerds.
delving into the lore of these players' names.
Well, I've been waiting for a book for 6 years, so there's a lot of time to explore the realm.
About as long as Eknar's career, as he managed to find yet another kill on Smiling Knight. All in time for the bounty runes to come up, and yeah, you can see that maybe this matchup isn't going as well as when they watched Hellraisers beat Unique, because this mag is still farming perfectly fine.
Yeah, and that's a little concerning. I think Empire would prefer if the laning stage broke down a bit earlier. Unique have a draft that's just kind of down to chill.
Yeah.
You know, if you get out of lanes, all your core's in a good spot, the first items online, and you just kind of swap in powers and farm, you're going to consistently get more ROI out of every minute spent on map.
And at the same time, it's they also want their laning phase, like they should be expecting to win it.
Yeah.
Right? They've got a Venomancer on one side, a Draw Ranger on another. These are cores that need to be able to walk away with a win in their laning phase and go from there.
I will say, though, you're playing against Venomancer, and this hero, whenever you see it start to get first two'd, you assume that people are going to figure it out pretty quick, right? Because it's Veno. Like, the hero can't really change the way it plays the laning phase.
Yeah, it's not very dynamic. The playstyle's the same most of the time, right?
But this ward, like, people aren't even skilling Gale. This is just so annoying.
Yeah, well, first of all, where's my man Stick?
That's a good point.
That's one of the go-tos for this matchup. Eknart managed to get the cogs, trapping the 2. Smiling Knight does manage to dodge that stroke of fate, gets a little bit more damage, making they can trade off here. Eknart actually does survive there. And Smiling Knight opting not to try and chase down the Grimstroke.
Yeah. Well played up top, though. We had an interview with Illusion yesterday after their win. It was real nice. It's always cool to get a chance to chat with some of the up-and-comers.
Yeah, what was he like?
Oh, he's real chill. We were joking about it because all the old pros, right, can't be bothered to do interviews. It's like pulling teeth to get him in the chair. He showed up all excited. He was like happy to talk to us.
Fairy Fire pops. Smiling Knight really going for it, but he's not going to get it. Illusion is the one for the double kill. Lightless will come in and clean up. Gets the kill on BZZ and is hoping to get the other one, but I don't think he's really fast enough. If he does, he'd have to really dive into the trees, and that's certainly not worth the risk. So once again, Unique really walking away with the victory there, forcing a rotation, still managing to kill the enemy carry, and this is not what you want to see for a Draw Ranger game, not what you want to see for a Venomancer either. Fortunately, he doesn't have to TP all the way back to base, trying to get this kill onto Vanscore though, chasing him down, but a neutral creeps. Well done by Vanscore, waking him up from their slumber to get the deny on himself. Pull back on Palantimos, and now Shachlo's back into play here as he gets the Poison Sting, slowing down Palantimos. They don't need to dive. They could just be content with having pushed him out pretty far.
He's just taking so much damage from this Poison Sting. It does have the stick up, but as you said, he got it, what, a couple minutes ago, already up to 10 charges?
Yeah.
So it's just a free healing ward now for the Jug safe. 19-teen wants the rune. He would have got it there if he had if it had spawned. That would have been sick.
He's not going to get it on the other side, though. Eknart, good rotation by him. It does leave his Draw Ranger alone for now, but it's going to cost 19 quite a bit. In fact, 19 didn't have enough mana to be able to jump over to his Remnant, so instead he had to go for the Flame Guard. Eknart with the double damage is still putting in the work. Now, this is not a kill he's going to be able to get, but he can be very happy with the result of it, especially at this tornado. Oh, snap, Lightless. That was smooth as hell. That's a TP ruined right there.
I love that about this CIS Dota scene. Certain other players, you know, once the Ember runs up into his own jungle, it's like, I'll give up. I don't even care. But no, he's got him locked and just chases for that extra 20 seconds to get the tornado to finish, which isn't necessarily worth until that TP gets canceled. Because that just burns an extra, what, 20, 30 seconds from the Ember Spirit on respawn. So it's super value to take him out.
Yeah, his Remnant expired before he actually came back up, so couldn't actually jump back to lane, and now he's going to miss a full creep wave here potentially, unless he wants to blow even more Remnants to get there faster.
That's such a huge win when you interrupt the TP. It's just, it's like double the death timer when you get it. It's so sick. Put the Invoker in firm and sole control of top net worth.
What do you think about him with the Quaswex build? We've been seeing a few more Exorts nowadays.
I have not seen one.
Really? You haven't
Yeah,
seen a single one?
Yeah, I actually didn't even realize people were building going Exort yet. I've only seen Quas Wex, which is surprising. The one thing that's never been used, at least to my knowledge yet, is something Smash used to do way back. Hang on, will they get this kill?
Eknar does manage to separate himself and gets a good cogs pushback, dodges the nuke there from BZZ, goes the TP away. Very, very nicely played.
Smash used to go this really cool...
No, he's good, he's good.
Is
Talking about the Wexord build?
Yeah, the Wexort.
Oh, the pullback from the Tornado, setting
Sick.
it all up. That just nice combos from Empire.
That's a really cool combo as well. The Tornado into Remnant from the Void Spirit isn't exactly dodgeable. It's pretty nice because whenever you're playing against Ember, you need that frame-perfect lockdown. I think you can Remnant out, but actually no, I don't think you can. Because it functions the same way as Mirana Arrow, where if a target comes within the radius of the spell, much like Arrow, you're just like immediately placed into the disabled state.
Yeah.
So I don't believe you're able to Remnant out of that if it's done perfectly and the Remnant is activated before you come down from Tornado.
And that was James picking up that kill right there on the Void Spirits. Player from Uzbekistan that is trying to join Lightless here and getting even more active, but they're going to be met with a big, bad, angry Ember Spirit who will at least be able to kill Lightless. No, he gets the kill on James as well, thanks to the Sleight of Fist. A skewer back, and an Omni Slash with no savior from the creeps. Palantimos help them get the kill there as well. 1 for 3 exchange in various lanes. Unique getting active.
It's where it starts to get scary, though. It feels like Empire's played a better game. They've been more active around the map, but this Ember is farmed, Mag and Jug are suddenly linked up, and the Empowers start to play a huge role. Mid tower being pressured, they're going to take top as well for free. And the problem with Empire's lineup is they just don't have anybody beefy. They can hunt for kills, but shoving towers is really tough, whereas these 3 unique cores can just play up in their face.
Do manage to get the silence on a Lightless. The shots come out from the Snapfire, not good enough to get either kill here, and James might be able to turn things around. Nice cookie, actually, bailing him out from the Remnant.
Grandma coming in clutch.
Do manage to take that bottom tier 1 tower finally, thanks to the Venomancer, but still, again, with the Venomancer, you would hope that you'd be ahead in these tower-taking maneuvers, but as we've seen, quite far behind. Does manage to dissimulate, gets away from that Inkswell. Man, this Tornado is really value in this game. Flame Guard, Inkswell. Empower, yeah. A lot of really good abilities.
I think you also catch people mid-cookie, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Like, they don't land, so they don't perform the stun. I don't know how relevant that'll be, but if it is, I said, not Cat.
Kyle called it. It wasn't me.
Royalty schmoyalty.
Silenced up. Unable to hook shot away, but if they can get their turnaround kill on this Ember Spirit, it'd be super good. 19 has just enough mana, thanks to that stick, to be able to jump away to his Remnant that was already out, and Void Spirit will pay the price for trying to go for the brotherly kill.
You can see the damage issues from Empire, though. Like, that was a pretty decent kill execute, but the Wand into Remnant out, there's no follow-up. In fact, Empire just don't really have any true lockdown. You can catch somebody in these kind of quirky maneuvers, maybe a hook into silence or something, the Remnant after Tornado, but meanwhile, Unique just have very simple point-click stun damage and a lot of disable. It's just so much easier for them to find kills, whereas Empire feels like they need superior positioning. I think the odds are pretty accurate in that case, because it just feels like Unique, not just the better team, but a significantly easier draft to execute with.
Well, I would say the odds actually have gotten better to Empire's favor compared to the start of this series. Maybe that's just people seeing the odds and being like, if I can make $3 for my 1, that seems pretty good. But the truth is, it is looking very favorable for Unique, especially if they can take this mid tower nice and early. Chancho is here in position, though, to set up the wards, and this will make things a lot harder for Unique. Oh, news come out. They actually do manage to get initiation from Eknart. Gets in between everybody from Unique. It is holding Palantimos down. Rest of his team needs to help him out, though, to be able to pump the damage in. Palantimos still has some stick charges.
Holy crap.
Tried to chase down that clockwork, but that was an ill attempt indeed, as it's going to cost him his life. He falls to the Tornado. What a big fight for Empire, and I cannot believe it. Unique's hubris there.
Oh, for sure. I also can't believe this is just a naked Yasha on the Jug. I would have expected a Drums or some sort of lifesteal like Mask of Madness in this kind of game, you're not going to have nearly enough sustain. And with only 1100 HP, you saw Venomancer. Shacklo is just clicking him. Like Clockwork, he's trading hits and he can't even out DPS the battery assault. Really shocked they're not going for a drums on any of their heroes. That item is by far most valuable, especially when you consider the mass amount of physical right click you provide when you've got 3 melee cores that can all be empowered. Just an active drum charge could zerg down a tower, a Roche, or advantageous in a team fight.
Yeah, there's a reason why teams like OG, who are known for exploiting items, will always have a drum hero, if not two.
Yeah, but really nice play there, though, from Eknard on the clock, because he took out Illusion before he could get a spell off. That Grimstroke will be very key for winning team fights for Unique.
Nice pickups here. Good work on the camera, too, buddy. They got that bottom kill and the mid kill at the same time, and Empire beginning to pick up the pace a little bit. Those odds not looking so good anymore.
Venomancer is starting to become a real factor. Hitting level 10, maxed out wards, maxed out poison. Suddenly you got some survivability, and you just start doing so much damage.
Yeah, we almost have the Orchid too for Lightless, so...
He's hunting with his tornado.
He's going for the RP, but he only hits the Clockwork. We'll be able to push him back into the tier 2, but what a position for him to be in as he cogs pushes them all into the silence.
God.
The Aether Remnant doesn't catch Palantimos instead. It hits the Magnus, but Palantimos is still in trouble here, and he only has a few stick charges to work with. He has to turn around and Omni Slash and hope for the best. He ends up staying on top of shot slow and is quickly eliminated by Smiling Knight. Lightless will go down to the barrage of nukes coming out from the Snapfire, but 19 wasn't able to finish the job. He couldn't get any of those kills, and now is left to the unmerciless Smiling Knight, who gets the triple kill on the high ground.
How much damage does this hero do? He's got double Wraith and a Dragon Lance. He's just shredding. No wonder I lost that hero yesterday.
You mean the garbage Draw Ranger hero?
It's not garbage, Cap. Damage amplification is nothing to sneeze at.
Okay.
Big fan.
I'm just saying, it doesn't look as good as...
Look at those numbers.
Like 2 months ago when the Clockwork Death Prophet combo, which is basically the same thing, right?
What?
Silence off of a clock initiation.
They're not the same thing at all.
That's just explain why they're very similar.
That's like saying Fast and Furious is a lot like Gran Torino because they have cars in them. It's not the same.
Okay, fine. Jeez. Didn't know you would take such offense to that, Kyle. Gracious. All I'm saying is that I would much prefer that combination over the Draw Ranger. That's me anyway. Oh, hook shot that just misses the mark.
I think it's situational. I will say I think DP is certainly slept on right now. That hero feels really good to play. And I think there's just not nearly enough methods of dealing with healing right now after the changes to the Spirit Vessel. Also, weird item build. This is an... Okay, wait, never mind. Sorry. For some reason in my head, this was an offlane Void Spirit, but it's not.
Just the 4.
19?
Not going to get very far as he was already hit by the slow from the Void Spirit, so his Remnant only went a couple inches there. He does manage to get away, but he's pushed back and will probably have to go for a heal. And Vanscore, who already spoiled his cookie. Dude, it's the way the cookie crumbles.
Eknard is everywhere, man.
Yeah.
I feel like every time we turn our head, we just find him on top of an enemy support and helping his squad find a kill. No hook needed there. He just found himself in position.
Lightless wanders into the sentry, but it doesn't matter too much, I think, because he's got some backup. They can actually get there in time, though, to grab this Ember Spear and prevent him from killing Lightless, but they can't quite do it. Eknard didn't have the hook shot up, and the Aether Remnant could only do so much. And now BZZ, he's hit the one-man RP, pulling the Draw Ranger into the Juggernaut, and that's exactly the target he wants to be on the slashing every single time. We'll get up the healing ward just to make sure everyone's going to be okay here, but these fights just keep on going back and forth as I feel like both teams are not playing the cleanest of games and stumbling into some bad fights.
It's a product of the draft makeup, though, because Empire kind of have to always play with that little extra style. They need to abuse positioning, isolate enemies, whereas Unique, it's just like, get us around the Drow for just a couple of moments. He died in Omni Slash. I mean, sure, there was an RP and a skewer back, but the damage output necessary was just that Jug ult. Unique still provide a lot more power in their punches. It's just more difficult for them to get on top of these squishy backliners of Empire because they've got just so much stuff in the way.
Dude, look at Eknar. What a man. He's just running after Palantimos right now. James was going after Van's core. Now the ultimate's going to come out from the Snapfire. James is going to dodge back in. There goes to silence the Orchid from light list to prevent any more damage. 19. He's going to take a ton of poison damage. The Tornado chases after him, but it doesn't matter. He doesn't need to hit because the poison would surely do the trick.
Yeah, you can't fight with no cooldowns, though, Unique. They used RP, they used Omni. You've got to just get out now. Like, you can't keep skirmishing here, and I love what Empire's doing. They're just consistently running. Look at the warding they've got with 2 placed deep in the Radiant top triangle. This is the area of the map you're looking to control. They can now play this jungle, freeze up Roshan, and if they're able to find any kills, mid and top are almost always going to be pushing for them, so they can go for a tier 2, then go into the bottom half, maybe look to take the shrine or the outpost. I miss shrines. R.I.P.
Do you?
No.
I'm not sure if I
no,
miss
I
them
don't
at all.
It just, I liked it because it feels like a lot of the heroes that are meta now kind of have these self-sufficient ways to stay on map, whereas shrines made it so that, you know, you could play something like Leshrac as an example and not just feel bad because you get to 60% HP and you're just like, damn, what do I do?
Nice deny. Well done by Illusion. 20-minute mark coming up, and all of Empire occupying the left-hand side of the map, taking over that triangle, and we should get these 2 bounties. James is going to play the other side and get at least 1. Oh, Jesus, Eknar. All right, maybe he didn't check out Illusion's items before he made that initiation, but should know now that Illusion has a 4-staff, so
Big
it's not free food anymore.
Yeah, this is that part of the game where Clockwork goes from really broken to rather ineffective, and suddenly you've got to think not about finding kills, but splitting the fight. Specifically isolating either Ember or Jug from his team, or keeping them out of a fight entirely. Ultimately, you want to try and get a support or the mag in a perfect world. And but let's see, Illusion BCZ look ready. They're backing up this Ember Spirit. 19, not having the greatest game so far, 5th in net worth, but keep in mind that Empower effectively adds an extra item to his hero. So he still is going to do some of the most damage in this game.
It always makes me laugh when you see that situation where, like, one hero is very clearly, he's like, I've got this creep wave, it's mine, and the BCZ rolls up, he's like, maybe I could take some of the last hits.
I'm that guy.
You're that guy?
I would argue, however, that because 5 positions are never given an opportunity to farm, all of the last hitting that they can do is of net benefit to the team, because gold to them is more impactful than gold to others.
Guardian Greaves quickly gets rid of the shackles here, but this is a Venomancer that looks pretty dead, but at least he gets off his abilities, and that might be a win for Empire. The back line, BZZ managed to get his initiation, pushes into 19, but 19, he's on the retreat, but the Omni Slash comes through. It sticks, though, onto the Invoker. They'll still manage to finish up Smiling Knight without losing anybody for the cause, as the Healing Ward will bail out Illusion.
Well played, yeah, and that's just the problem, right? Mag Jug. We've seen it for half a decade at this point. Some pretty significant damage. The Omni takes out Invoker in half of drought. Oh, that was so close to finishing.
If only that Sunstrike was up a bit sooner. But instead, Unique get the Roshan kill, they get the Aegis, and now things are looking really rough for Empire. Feels like they're beginning to miss some of their timings. Well, yeah, you could play these back and forth team fights. You win one, I win one, back and forth, but like...
We were talking about the warding and how aggressively they were able to play. Look at how the map controls changed. All of a sudden, it's Unique boldly crossing the river, and this vision they've placed offensively is just not going to be useful any longer. There's no more hope to perhaps take a Roshan, because that's now dead. You could go look to take the outpost bottom because the tier 2 top is gone. I think that's the play you'd want to make, but they've missed the 20-minute mark, so it's not relevant for another 7 minutes. Empire in a tough spot. They're going to want to play around a choke point, maybe look for an engage.
What I do appreciate, though, they cannot afford to slow down, nor will they. They come back from that team fight, immediately start looking for some kills. Didn't even have to use a hook shot for it. Kill BZZ.
That's got to be their target from now on. I'm surprised.
Oh, we got him with the silence. He was mid-sleight of fist. He does have the Eul Scepter, though. Does he have a Remnant? But if the Remnant pulls him back in, it looks like he didn't have a Remnant up, so he could not get away.
Really nice play there. Only level 1 Remnant, but still enough to secure the kill. Great silence, though, from Smiling Knight to force the Yules. They had no hope of a kill otherwise. What does Shocklow got? Greaves going Solar Crest. Love that build. And yeah, Empire doing their job. Get into this top triangle ASAP. You need to have control of an area and bait Unique into running into it if you want to take some sort of successful engagement. You cannot allow Unique to initiate.
Part of the problem with that is going to be that Unique don't really have to fight into you, right? At this point, they could just kind of let the Juggernaut do his deal.
Just farm. The new Abyssal Blade has really changed how Drow functions against a lot of melee carries. I loved picking Drow into Jug because you had a lot of trouble with gap close, and ultimately Drow just shreds you from the back. But with this new Abyssal, especially you consider he as a mag, it's so easy now for them to just all in. You know, Ember can go first, 19, create some chaos, and all of a sudden, boom, you're Abyssal Nomnied. And without an E-Blade picked up by somebody on Empire, there's literally no save. And that's a big problem.
There's a talent change in there that I've seen people be getting the level 15 talent with the movement speed on spin as well. So this hero can actually get really fast if you go like the drums build.
Yeah. Both teams scanned each other out. They're going to do the wrap.
Yeah, this is
the hook and ladder.
A pretty smart play. James is nicely positioned, though, to break smokes, and he does just that. Gets away with his dissimulate before he can be hit by the silence. Makes sure to completely jump out. 19 is just going to roll on it and see if they can grab. It's going to be Shocklow there. He's going to fall onto the left-hand side, where we go back to the clock, where we could try to lock down BZZ, but the shot's coming in from the Snapfire with that combo that he executed. Does a nice job of tearing apart the two Empire heroes. Eknart will no doubt be found eventually here. And brought to his knees. Empire gonna lose some of that net worth lead they held.
You can see the problem. Empire knew what was up. They had perfect positioning, but the mag was initiated on him. BZZ wasn't really able to help his team, but they found the Drow. Or rather Shocklow. And he's just dead. And the Venomancer is not a real hero. By using this Omni Slash at the start of a fight, Empire effectively just make it 5-on-4. Or Unique, rather, make it 5-on-4. And you just can't stand up to them after that.
Now you're going to need Empire. Like, they have to run it Unique again, because there's now cooldowns.
They have to find the opening onto either Grimstroke or Magnus. They have to if they want to fight.
And they're going to try it, get these initiation now before the clockwork is even up. Lightless pursues forward. They're going to get the Yule Scepter to bring down the Ember Spirit. With that, looks like he may be dying. He does have a slight remnant up. Can they actually pursue, though? 19's going to throw away as many remnants as possible. Eknard actually TPing onto the outpost to try and get away. 19 goes to that right side. They haven't stunned. They do. The Tornado's there, and sure enough, he falls. The one core kill, though. I think Empire wanted more.
That's a really good example of what makes this game so hard for Empire. Because that was all 5 heroes trying to kill Ember. He was able to waste, 15 seconds of their time? Imagine if in the meantime there's a Jug and a Mag threatening a kill on any target they come across. That's what makes this so tough for Empire. They need more information to win fights. Unique just need a core in front of their carry. He dies.
The Illusion does manage to get away from an attempted gank from Lightless. He was just trying to run down whatever heroes he could. Bottom lane, Juggernaut is free to split push where he can. They don't really want to take the fight while the RP and Omni Slash are still on cooldown. So they'll give up that mid-tier 2. He's going to be going for a Scotty next instead of completing out that Abyssal Blade. Just some raw stats, it seems.
I don't mind that here. It allows you to just stick like glue onto the 3 ranged cores of Empire. And always go back for Abyssal if needed. And this mag also, BZZ, he's just so tanky. Once he gets Greaves, the Orchid will no longer be a threat. He's going to TP out and finish him up, it appears. With the Essence Ring. Oof. Essence Ring is so good. Like, I just don't think that item is balanced. I still have some issues. I feel like we just forgot about neutral items and balancing them and what their impact on the game is. But there's certain ones, like, in, what's it, Arcane Ring? The 10 int, 3 armor, mana regen, tier 1. Is like top 3 win rate of all neutral items. It's like nearly 60%. Like, isn't that... Also, why do we not get any other thing that spawns during 2 to 4 6-minute runes? It's just a 50-50. full bottle in haste or absolutely
You are a big fan
nothing.
of the bounty rune or power rune dynamic?
Yes, I think that we already have 4 bounty runes every 5 minutes. Just add another one
Hook
every
shot
2. It's
in,
fine.
managed to catch 2. That looks pretty nice. The Palantimos gets knocked out of the cogs, and well, Eknar's just kind of there, a sitting duck. But they don't manage to get the silence on the Palantimos. If they'd gotten that, maybe they could have pursued for the kill. But Eknar, as it is, maybe he survived, but the initiation doesn't really lead to anything that Empire wanted. These heroes are beginning to become tougher nuts to crack. Smiling Knight's damage does not look so hot anymore.
The lucky thing for them is that the Ember Spirit's game is just not where you would expect. I think part of it's the item build. I am not going to keep harping on the lack of drums, but I think that he would have been able to do a lot of work early game with them instead of very late Yules, which also doesn't boost his damage output, which is something you'd like when you have an Empower behind you. Clock.
Eknar making himself the target. Nice Orchid use there on BZZ. Finally gets it cleansed off, and he is able to get the skewer back to get that poor Clockwork killed. There goes their strong initiation from their 5 position, and Empire's just still gonna hold this high ground area. It feels a little bad to me that Unique can just jump off 5 position.
Yeah.
And the team fight's fine for them, or lack thereof.
It's just so much easier. Their cores all scale with in survivability, whereas Empire, yeah, sure, the Veno's a little tanky, but everybody else has got to rely on mobility to survive.
Well, they wanted them to jump into the high ground, and 19, he obliges them. He does actually go for that. Thanks to the Yule Scepter, he'll be safe for now. Our Void Spirit, can he get off the Dissimulate? He jumps over the side, can't get over the cliff though. Nice double chains. Managed to hit the Venomancer as well as the Void Spirit. They do have that meatball coming through the center. The Drone Ranger hitting from the low ground, but these tankier heroes, they're not to be messed with. And Palantimos, he found the opening he needed to. Got pushed forward from a 4-staff, I believe, and easily gets the Omni Slash into the Drone Ranger. Once the Drone's dead, the fight's over.
What are you supposed to do against that? Smiling Knight, he's played a pretty solid game. He's about the same net worth as the Jug, who just killed him in 2 seconds, 100-0. There's no counterplay. If anything, you should maybe have bought a Ghost Scepter into an early E-Blade. But
Yeah,
you
that's what I was thinking.
You can't really do that and expect to win games of Dota. I think that's just it. That's at least a tower.
And Chains with the silence, Lightless, the spinning ballerina, jumping on top. They do have the hook shot to disrupt things, but it's skewer back from BCZ. Should seal Lightless's fate unless this Deafening Blast is looking really good. The Drone Rangers in the back lines just laying into the entire team. And this has been folly now from Unique, thinking that,
19?
like Kyle said, maybe this game is over. They just tried to seal the deal. And in the process, throw away 5.
Now, that's the only way. That's how Unique loses fights. That's what Empire's got to look to do. No RP, they have no Jug ulti, and they kind of catch them diving, and then boom, counter-initiate with the Tornado, the Silence, the Ice Wall. And suddenly it's Unique just sort of in the firing lines. The difficulty for Empire is creating this sort of scenario. And look, I love it from Shackle. He will go for that E-Blade. You need something to save against the Omni to be able to win these fights that'll inevitably happen not on your terms. That's what Empire's got trouble with. But now you just play around the Venomorphs, play around the Cogs, E-Blade to save. If they can get Unique to squander one of their 2 big ultimates and keep everyone alive, that should be enough to turn the tide in an engagement.
Well, Unique, that was they managed to force a buyback to Drone Ranger, but still kind of foolish just because Roshan could have been up. Now, fortunately for them, it's only going to be up in 30 seconds here, but Empire, they had a real possibility of being able to turn the game with an Aegis, which, as you said, some way to be able to force one of these big ultimates to be used. A secondary life would be one of those opportunities.
It's anybody's game up until this Roche fight. That's what we can expect a lot to be determined by. And yeah, lack of BKB on 19 is a bit spooky. If he uses this Yules and gets caught by either Silence or Remnant or any kind of disable after, he will get shredded by this Drow Ranger's DPS. No Venom ulti for some time though, so Empire might want to stall a little bit till that cooldown's back up.
Would you agree with me in saying that this next Roshan, it's a must-have for Empire, but not necessarily for Unique?
Yeah, I would agree. I think if Unique get it, they could potentially just go win the game. Empire get it, they can potentially fight back. Even though they're ahead in net worth, I'd say they're still behind in this game. But I like this. They consistently control vision, control high grounds. They need to take fights in open spaces. Unique, they just want to catch you in a choke point and run you down.
And I feel like Unique, you don't really need to run into these high grounds.
No, definitely not.
You just keep farming. You've got a bag on your team. Like, this Juggernaut still doesn't have his Abyssal Blade. They could just be like, okay, you stay up on the high ground. We'll go farm 75% of the map.
I will say, once this E-Blade comes up, though, and they have methods of dealing with Omni, things change a bit, because Palomatinos is dangerously high on the net worth charts in comparison to the rest of his team. This Ember Spirit's additional DPS just isn't there yet. Solar Crest Yules is not something he's going to be scaling with.
Yeah, if anything, it's like maybe 19 needs to be the one running around the map farming these other sides. And the rest of Unique can just kind of like 4-man around. Okay, the Tornado Initiation onto the Juggernaut. Way into the back line goes James. Getting to dodge that silence nicely. He wanted to be able to stop that Snapfire ultimate. The Soulbind onto 2. They do have the Omni Slash on top of those heroes, but thanks to the Ghost Scepter, it didn't do that much, and the Clockwork was the other target. Palatimo's trying to get away from Smiling Knight right now, but he's slowed down consistently by all of these heroes. The Cogs trapping Advanced Core will spell his doom, and triple kill for Smiling Knight. Palantimos is not a kill they can get, but still.
What?
I don't know how that went.
So Shacklo just absorbed a hell of a lot of the Omni with his Ghost Scepter. 1,500 gold to save a life. And I don't know where BZZ was on that engagement, but that's what makes Venom so strong.
Oh no, they just caught 19 as well.
Yeah, he's not a factor in these fights. And Shacklo's just got like 12 wards. Then there's the chaos caused by a Quaswex Invoker, a Void Spirit who jumps all the way to the back line, distracting both supports, interrupts Snap Ult, and then jukes out the Grimstroke Silence. And Palomatinos just gets caught to being too aggressive. Smiling Knight with Alacrity. Look at the damage.
Yeah, I don't know if he felt like that was an Omni Slash, like, oh, I have to, defensive style, I have to use it, but I thought he kind of learned his lesson. Like, he has to go for the Drone Ranger. Going for this Venomancer anymore is not worth it. Whether just because of the Ghost Scepter, but also because his impact in the team fight compared to the Drone Ranger kill. Vastly different, I think.
Finish the racks. They got 20 seconds.
Yeah, they got enough time here. They're going to make sure BZZ can actually... Oh, BZZ! You got to be careful of that machine gun Dro, son!
Just going to go for more. Why not? The Butterfly and the Alacrity. Oh, my God.
Well, what? He just walked in and got right-clicked.
Yeah, you better buy back. That's 2 racks.
Huh.
All right.
Well, that's weird. Unique have gotten themselves into quite the pickle now. 25-31, 35 minutes in, and it's looking like it's now Empire's game to lose, with mid lane of barracks completely taken and the top lane melee barracks brought down as well.
Go for me.
And now it feels like Unique almost have to try and play for like some big late game. Aghanim Scepter for the Venomancer. Jeez. So didn't actually go for the completed E-Blade, just left it as a Ghost Scepter for now. I'd like to see that E-Blade just to have a way to protect the Drow Ranger, but...
I don't know if Drow needs protecting anymore. Smiling Knight seems perfectly capable of taking care of himself, especially with all these buffs. And because there's no MKB on the Jug, even Omni Slash strikes can still miss, right? Or they have True Strike?
I think
I know the auto attacks during the Omni can miss.
Yeah,
well,
I
aren't
think that's
all of
the
it?
way it goes.
Isn't it just the time duration now? No number.
Oh, you might be right in that maybe they can all miss.
It's one of those mechanics when I was playing, like you'd always have like the exact knowledge of. Whereas now, washed up, I sometimes wonder even what. Like, my head is just full of really useless information. Like I know that
all the old mechanics that are left in your head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then it's like Slacks is just constantly talking about the lore.
Yeah.
So now I can tell you what universe Weaver is from, but I don't know what Geminade does.
What universe is he from?
It would take too long to get into. It's a crossover based on something from Star Trek. Shacklo finding BZZ. There's still no BKB on the mag. He's in trouble.
Same time, they're going for Palantimos, and Palantimos didn't go for a TP out during that spin because the clock works, so now he's going to be in serious trouble. Brought down pretty easily. Why are these guys down here by themselves? Where's the rest of the team? Like,
well, they're in base. They're chilling. There was a pause. We had some hangout,
I guess.
Chilling at the playground. Ag's up on Illusion. That could be big if he can get it on top of the Drow, but that's real difficult. Cast range, not what you would hope it would be, and Drow's going to be way in the back.
Yeah, he almost needs like a Blink Dagger just to be able to get that.
It's a very ambitious item.
Yeah. And one that won't feel very good on anybody else, right? Like maybe Venomancer, I guess, but that's still not as good as like true right-clicking carries. You have to get it on this Drow Ranger.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
They're still waiting on a Vlad's to be finished on BZZ. I really just don't think that this unique lineup played the draft for their timings. And Empire, like, they smell blood. Nothing can really stand to this Drow's damage either, and he's too tanky now for them to try and all in.
Gonna grab the Ember Spirit immediately.
Look at
Smiling
the
Knight sees
damage.
this opportunity, but that push forward actually catches them with the Soul Bite as well. And they do have the Drone Ranger illusion out, but there wasn't enough like follow-up there. There was no stuns to be able to catch Smiling Knight when he was in that very terrible position. If we had like an RP skewer back, that looks to me like an easy win for Unique.
These Veno wards, the spam. This is what makes Empire's draft so dangerous. If you allow them to take area control, there's summons, wards, Drow launching aerial assaults, the rocket spam. It's just so difficult now. Unique, even though they're inside their own base, they're being forced off the ground.
Managed to get the skewer back onto the Venomancer
Get your
with the
ult off.
immediate silence. So that is great because he can't actually remove the silence, especially while he tries to use his Ghost Scepter.
If he just gets that Ag's ult off, they can still take that fight. But
Certainly.
wait,
Oh, he stumbled into a side device pickup, and they got way too ahead of themselves. The Omni Slash on a clockwork?
Got him.
All right. Well, the bad part for Empire, I was like, okay, they used Omni Slash, great. But at the same time, they did buy back on the Venomancer during this timing. It feels like that means they are just going to force the high ground right now
Oh,
while
hell
Omni
yeah.
Slash is on cooldown.
Yeah. You got a huge window. Satanic's going to be finished on Smiling Knight. I would love to see him just buy it. Who needs buyback? You've got an Aegis. Minotaur Horn as well is actually huge because it means he's got a BKB on demand when necessary.
Yeah, all Omni Slash hits do not have True Strike.
Yeah, okay, cool. Because it used to be that the attacks between could miss, the Omni Strikes couldn't.
Right.
But I would argue that makes MKB even more value on Jug. And I'm surprised we don't see it in this game. Like, the moment you saw the butterfly, that's got to be your priority one.
Radiant are scanning.
And he's got it queued up now. Yeah, to be expected.
Do you feel like this Scotty has... I feel like it hasn't been that useful. Like, the tankiness of the item...
It seemed good when I envisioned the fights as Palamatino's like running in, getting on top of somebody.
Sure.
But then you realize, wait, you're not actually... It's hitting that guy the first time that's the trouble.
Yeah.
Because you're running through Venom Wards and Clock and Void Spirit, and there's just all this stuff to get through. It feels like he should have gone for either more raw DPS or a true mobility item to find a target.
Yeah. I mean, that's like Abyssal Blade, as you were talking about. It solves some of these issues for a lot of melee cores.
Yeah.
Which is that little hop.
That's the trouble with Scotty. It sounds good on paper. It's so much stats, limits regen, you get to stick on a ranged hero, but it's getting the opening that's the difficult part. And that's where Abyssal comes in, is just the be-all, end-all item. It's like, think of Ursa, right? All of a sudden with an Abyssal, it's just a threat. Like, it's a grizzly bear. It upgrades him from a brown bear. I don't know why I'm talking about Ursa. It doesn't matter. Unique.
From black bear to grizzly bear, is that what you're saying?
Yes. They were talking about bears all yesterday and how it's silly to play dead. They actually just don't understand. If it's a black bear, fight back. Brown bear, lay down.
Yeah.
Bear's brown, lay down. That's what it is. So it's supposed to rhyme. But it actually does work. I think.
Yeah. I mean, I assume there's a reason why, like, every survival guide suggests it. They really don't think you shouldn't lay down against a grizzly bear. I dare you to try and outrun one of those things.
Dude,
those
bears
are bad boys,
terrifying.
man. They'll mess
You know
you
what's
up.
even crazier is that a gorilla would absolutely destroy a brown bear, and that would blow your mind. But because gorillas are very similar to humans, like we're effectively cousins, and they have like strength. It just blows your mind.
So tell me, Joe, have you ever tried DMT?
Eknar scouting out with the rocket. Empire, they just got to find good positioning, control an area, control the vision. I like it. Roshan spawning, possibly rather Aegis despawning. So maybe this isn't the right time to be fighting, but they're going to do it anyway.
A small window there where maybe they could have caught Palantimos and pushed him back up with the cogs, but Don't want to try and stretch things too much. After all, they're in a comfortable position. They can wait for Roshan. It's up to Unique to actually come outside their base and do something during this potential Roshan spawn window. It is going to be a long, long, long Rosh, though. It's the latest you could possibly get it, so... Nice catch out here. Oh, and a nice hook shot in. That's going to be able to catch two. Pushing back with the Cogs Palantimos as well. They're going to turn around and focus on Eknar, but that is exactly what the Drone Ranger wants you to do. Focus on my 5 position. I'll lay down the damage eventually here. There goes the Void Spirit heading back in. They do manage to catch the 2, though. The Soulbind mixed in with the Phantom. They're doing a nice job getting on top of these heroes. The Omni Slash, it finally jumps onto the Drone Ranger, and that is how you're supposed to win fights, Unique. That's how you do it right there.
This is how we do it. All it took was them getting on top. The RP wasn't even really necessary. Eknart, man, this guy, he's playing so well, though.
He don't play.
That initiation was flawless. He found the first catch, then isolates, pushes back 3. He's doing exactly his job, then buying back to kill the Ember Spirit. His team has just got to watch their positioning a bit better. He had found them the Grimstroke. They just get double ulted, then Omni Slash. Like, come on, lads.
Oh my god! Did you get him? Oh! I was watching the clock this entire time because somebody on his team pinged it. And I was like, my man's going to try and snipe Illusion.
Oh
and
my
he's still going for it! This boy's a beast! He don't stop!
Hell yeah. What a beast. Like, single-handedly stopping the push. Takes out 2 key heroes. Multiple buybacks forced. How many were used in that last engagement? 4?
We had the, I'm not sure why Void Spirit Invoker felt compelled to buy back. Maybe they felt like they needed somebody to check the pit, but since Eknart was up, you know, I don't think anybody really needed to buy back until they knew Roche was up.
And this is where things get a little spooky for the Drow, though, because the MKB was up on Jug, and we've kind of underplayed it, I feel. But, you know, even... like. Yeah, he's having trouble getting on top of somebody, but Palamentinos with that Empower. Look at his there. He's hitting for over 300.
Oh,
like he hits really, really hard.
It's the new Juggernaut with his Omni Slash change, and then Blade as well. But this hero feels way stronger late game than he used.
Oh yeah.
He does have the Omni Slash duration, so the Omni Slash is going to be even scarier.
And once he gets the Abyssal, things get really, really spooky, specifically for this Invoker, who just, with that Orchid BKB, it's not a bad item build by any means, but it starts to fall off at a certain point because the Orchid Sans is no longer as valuable. There's heroes with methods of breaking it, and you just don't have the armor or the scaling power that maybe you would be hoping for. But, you know, you check out the net worths, it feels like Empire is still in a very good spot. They do have 2 racks as well. Going now for this 3rd Roche. I'd like to see Unique contest this, but with no RP, they might not feel confident doing so. Eknar's level 24. Get out of here.
Gonna try and get there in time, but
he's the 5
for free.
This is a 5 Clockwork. We're talking about him like he's an offlaner.
Yeah, the I feel like James and Eknart have been the stars of this show for Empire. Lylus has done a good job on this Invoker. He had a lot of good plays early on. But these initiations from Eknart, man, like he can't really do much better. He's creating so much space for the Draw Ranger and Invoker to play in the back lines. He actually has an E-Blade on the Clockwork.
Yo, win or lose, Eknart's my MVP.
Agreed. Now we're in that precarious position where a bunch of heroes do not have buyback.
I like the all-ending from the Jug. He doesn't have the buyback, but the Abyssal is just so much more valuable. If you die once, and your buyback's not going to be relevant. The fight's already going to be over. Oh, no.
2-man RP, but he gets the positioning to get the skewer over. He didn't turn him around, and now he's going to be silenced and won't be able to skewer back home. They are going to be able to get the Soulbind onto the Draw Ranger. Stun onto 2. Palantimos, Abyssal Blade, both of them. He's spinning around. The Omni Slash is going to be up in a second. He just needs to stay on top of Smiling Knight, but he gets silenced first. Somebody bail him out, so he has a chance to go again. The Aeon Disc going off from James, as he again is trying to position himself in the front lines, trying to be as disruptive as possible to get Smiling Knight out of there, because that was a dieback from the Invoker. 19 knows this too. He wants to be able to fight a force step forward, accidentally pushing him in, but he can still turn around and maybe finish off this Ember Spear. The rest of the team needs to get in there. Eknar trying to stop the Juggernaut from getting closer, but he's coming. He's approaching. He's getting on top of Smiling Knight now. The push away. He turns around, hits onto Eknar with his Omni Slash, feeling like he had to use it. Otherwise, he was going to poke apart by the Drow Ranger like he is now, but the Abyssal Blade forward catches the Drow, finally gets him. Eknar force staffs away, but gets caught by 19. Drow Ranger on his second life immediately is stunned up, and this could be it, Kyle. Did Empire... Smiling Knight gets a little bit of push away. Can he actually get the distance? Palantimos, or his proc, he's getting the damage, and Palantimos is dead. Turning on Advanced Core now, gets that kill, and wop, takes down 19 for the last kill. They only have Mag and Snapfire up, and they call it. Unique says, we cannot hold with just 2.
That was absolutely insane. Eknar, straight up, first off finds the initiation, then buying his drought time. They kite back a full like 2,000 units and somehow tanks the full Omni Slash. And then at that point, yeah, it looked rough for Empire. But with no Omni and no threat, Drow does significantly more damage to the Jug. He still had Satanic, had saved it for post-Aegis respawn. That was just a hell of a fight. Shout out to Empire, well done. That looked terrible for him. They bring it all the way through.
I can't believe Smiling Knight was able to hold out on that last team fight, but had some additional help, and that was a great game, man. Yeah. Empire.
That was a real solid Dota too. I mean, I know it's Division 2, but I think both of these squads demonstrating they still have a hell of a lot of skill. I think the drafts from both teams put them in a position to win. But shout out, like it was definitely a game. There weren't too many big mistakes. It just felt like both squads brawling, trying to make plays here and there. Yeah, the right principles were there all around. The game got a bit messy, but that was just the nature of these two teams trying to clash against each other. Right? All right. That was a fun, exciting game, and I can't wait to see what our wonderful panel has to say about a great game one.
Whoosh. Welcome back. Wow, how was your journey up the mountain? Incredible there. What a ping pong of a game, gentlemen. That was all back and forth, and I've got to agree with our casters. You know, nobody seemed like they really 3-2-2'd that hard. They were just beating the hell out of each other, like a bare knuckle bar fight that I've never been in. Let's talk about it. Gentlemen, thoughts on that incredible game?
Oh, okay. Then normally, I'll go first. And yeah, it was actually pretty
I gotta make
decent.
sure I repeat you exactly right after.
That's fine.
The BSJ meta. Continue.
Solid meta. It's working pretty well. No, I gotta give Empire props. They going into the series, I had zero faith in them. Honestly,
it's
after
not
yesterday,
necessary to bring up, but go ahead.
It's kind of. They were terrible yesterday.
Okay.
No, but today they really just kind of changed it up. I think we didn't actually mention it in the pre-part, but they also made another change to their roster where they brought in Goddamn.
Goddamn!
Goddamn, did it work?
It worked.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, they just actually felt like they had a bit of oomph in their game for once. They swept into this mid lane, constantly super being aggressive, just forcing the objective. Unique. They have a bit more of a farm-orientated lineup, and they fell victim to the aggression. They kept going mid, kept joining this brawl. They didn't open up the map, and then fundamentally, it allowed Empire to have this eventual unmountable lead.
BSJ, I think I remember you saying you actually weren't too big of a fan of Unique's draft, if I was correct on that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't like the concept of Mag into Veno, because it's like early game, the pressure is going to naturally be there on all of your lanes, and Mag lineups don't really want to be responding to that. They want to be hitting neutrals. And then in the mid to late game, you are a blink initiator against a Veno. So it can be super frustrating to ever get a good RP off. Usually Veno likes to play with heavy kite-based lineups, not like these... If it's like 3 or 4 melee heroes that kind of go in all at once, that's when Mag likes to play. So this whole idea... It was a first pick overall Veno with a response Mag. So to me, that made me a bit nervous. But to be honest, when I predicted Unique in the draft, I kind of just didn't think Empire had the capabilities to basically get what needed to be done. Like, I was just like, to execute their strategy. I thought their early game went way better than I thought they would pull off. Their aggression mid game, as you said, they constantly were forcing fights around the map, was really good. And then I envisioned what happened about 20 minutes in, where they just threw the game almost. What I thought was a throw.
This could have been
from
a big throw.
Empire. I was like, okay, this game's over. Like the Mag lineup has map control, and then suddenly
Wait
a bit of an overextension here.
There we go. Whoa.
And this is a bit deep. I will
Little
say,
bit.
they said there's solid Dota, no throws. I think both teams definitely overextended a few times, but it made for an exciting game, and I have no problem with that. But I was pretty shocked that Team Unique was able to lose the game from the position they were in right here, because
diving, mate.
Yeah, that's all Drow Veno can do to win in this game when you're ahead with Mag Jug is you going into them and then them turning it on you, which means you just have to not overextend and you can be super patient, and Jug can get 6 slotted while Drow is forced to sit in her base cowardly. I don't know. I enjoyed this game. It was emotional roller coaster. But it was not the smoothest of Dota, but sometimes that makes for some good Dota.
Hey, I mean, that's why we're here watching the Tier 2 scene. I mean, it's a lot more fun. Who wants to watch Team Secret win the umpteenth tournament again? Jesus.
Not
No, go ahead.
Secret fans. No, I think, just the way that Empire bounced back after that buyback utilization in their base and then pushing back over, they got those 2 racks mid and top. And look at this fight here. It was because of that Roshan they got for free, they were able to take this fight so easily, and there couldn't be that potential Unique comeback. It's like, okay, cool, we can continue kiting, play into our heroes, and all the fights Unique took, they were always trying to get onto that Drow. We mentioned in the draft, they don't have that hero that stands in front to protect Drow, but the issue is, for them to get to Drow, they have to fight through the aggression of Empire. And when you're 19k up, or even just like 5k up with these type of heroes, it's kind of hard to get through that meat shield of aggression that Empire can do. And again, props to them. The 2 stand-ins, I'm not going to pronounce their names because I've got a slur, but yeah, it's pretty darn good.
Goodness. Well, sad day for 19. It is his birthday today, and he loses. So,
just game 1.
Well, I don't know.
Do you think his presents are dictated based on if he wins or loses?
His presents?
Yeah. You think his family's like that, merit-based?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
God damn,
like,
imagine.
Dad's already texting him like, son, you lost game 1. And then just takes
presents being you missed a meme opportunity. His son, his dad texted him saying, "Are you winning, son?" And then he has to respond.
Lost game 1.
And then he has to respond with the
oh.
Just leaves it on red, doesn't even reply.
Damn, dude, that's rough. Jesus. You know, that reminds me when I used to wait tables, you know? There's a few of these people I always thought that they were hilarious, and they take like a bunch of singles and they put them at the edge of the table. And every time you come over and you did something wrong, they take $1 off in front of you. And that was like their fun like little game, and they'd like laugh about it at the beginning. They're like, hey boy, this is your tip. And every mistake you make, I'm gonna take one of those.
I've never even heard of this.
Yeah, it was wild. They thought they were the greatest. Thank you, Magic Mirror, by the way, for those fantastic stats there. Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah,
that's messed up.
Yeah, I worked in a restaurant that just didn't have tips because it was like you go to the counter, order your food, and then we like deliver it type of thing. So it was like it's not fast food type. It was weird, but yeah, no tips. Really sad.
That's like a foreign concept in America.
Nando's.
Our restaurant industry, the workers function on the tips because it's definitely not the hourly pay that is keeping them afloat.
Real talk, I'm gonna offend a lot of people here, so biggest apologies. As someone who worked in the restaurant business for 8 years, I know how bad everyone's getting screwed, and I much prefer it. All service in Europe and anywhere else I've been is just awful. You go to a European restaurant, and you're like, can I get a water? And they're like, and then they come and give you 1 glass, and they never return. It's over. I mean, that's because they have a living wage. They must. When I was a waiter, and I knew I wouldn't be able to eat unless this guy
really enjoyed your service.
I'm like, guys, we having a good time here, please.
I will say the service is on average better.
It's incredible because they're dying. This is what we're on Olympus. We're gods.
Oh yes,
completely
immortal.
It's just a character trait. It's not the real me. I'm acting. But seriously, though, just kidding. But yeah, incredible game, and what an upset! What an upset by Team Empire. Honestly, I mean, I think. It was really, really good to see them improve from that series that they had last time we saw them. Seems like they got their cohesion back. Goddamn, bringing in the Chad energy. What's up?
I was going to say, like, let's not get carried away. Again, it's one game.
Unlosable team. No, continue.
The best, Immortal Bound, Let's go. No, yeah, like it's one game, you know, gotta keep it, like they played well. It was a solid game, but then if you look at like the smaller moments, like the top buyback where they were kind of gifted the turnaround fight to get them back in the game after they threw, like sure they won the game, but there are moments that if you were to kind of break it down, they were able to quite easily lose against a more kind of driven and drilled team. So sure they win, but was it a clean win? No. So
I think when I watch the games in the EU region compared to NA, and excuse me here, but it's really funny to see the mistakes made based on pubs you play. Because in NA, when you see a team like a tier 3 team mess up, it's usually because they have an advantage and they chose to farm too long or play too passively and let the opponent team come back into the game that way. When I'm in EU watching these games, the team that's ahead, if they shouldn't lose, is usually because they're trying to fight too much or too deep in the opponent's base and they feed. So I think
Speaking of feeding,
yes,
check out this picture. This is taken yesterday.
Oh,
backstage.
yes, that is a solid
Lacrosse
one.
Feeding the Queen Sheaver.
but we need to, you know,
Seems
feed
about
the king,
appropriate for
like, can we
Jenkins.
maybe get just like a plant or a tree for you instead?
A tree or any plant?
Well, like, I don't want to use an orange.
Well, that's a fine little pear right there.
Yeah, but like we might need to do like the parody version of this at some point.
Yes, no, I'd rather you not touch me, if at all.
Didn't say that- wait, what?
What?
Oh,
Don't feed me. I don't want you anywhere near me. Stay away from me, Tea Governor. No! Sit down. BSJ can feed me if he wants. But no, I agree with you completely. I feel like it is a very different stuff here, and they really were just fight.
It's like fight to the death, even if it's our own death. You know, it doesn't matter who's dying. It's like we're gonna run at each other, and it's contagious. If one team's doing it, it feels like the other team's naturally dragged into doing it. I think that's the OG effect coming into play 2 years later, and it's palpable in the pubs you play too. Like everyone's in that mindset here. It is a culture. How Dota, like the way you play in every region, is actually a culture, and this game personified it for me. Just because both teams just ran at each other and fed a couple times, and the other team suddenly made a huge comeback, and you just don't see that in the motherland or.
What the hell? The motherland?
How did you end on that?
I don't know.
Yeah, you had such a great speech, and then it got super weird. That's okay,
All right, mate. Yeah.
You're doing your best, Brian. It's all good.
I'm just trying to come up with original thoughts because I've been, trying to avoid
very
the
difficult.
Bring
copyright.
up the motherland.
I want original thoughts for the motherland. You won't believe what we're thinking about doing at the moment. We love other cultures in the motherland. What the hell, dude? Anyway, game 2. Do you think we might see the same thing again? Will it be another dirty bar fight?
It will. Yeah.
I hope so.
We honestly don't know who's going to win.
Well, we haven't seen the draft yet, but I mean, okay. If you do know who's going to win, we should probably talk. I don't think our sponsor will like that. Jesus, you guys might not want to stop talking. Real talk, careers are in danger. Anyway, what's the worst job you two have had, by the way? I waited tables for 8 years. Actually, not my worst job, but you guys ever been in the grind?
So, at the tail end of school, my science teacher kind of like got me to do like private tuition at his like a community center.
Oh.
But he told all the parents. He didn't tell me this until the end when I left the job. He told them all the parents that I was like a qualified teacher, and he was like, "Just don't tell them. You need to talk to them." And I was like, "Wait, what? Sorry, what? You're telling them what? Sorry?" And yeah, he basically kind of tried scamming these parents to say I was qualified, and then as soon as he told me that, I left the job. But that was a scary 3 months because these parents were like coming up to me and helping their children and stuff, and yeah.
Jeez.
That reminds me of Parasite. Good movie.
Yeah, so also that teacher then just got fired from my school because
Good.
the day after the principal found out, and it was like, "See ya."
Great.
Yeah, it was crazy. He
That
literally
is
hired like 12 kids from the school plus 3 teachers, and somehow made this like pretty profitable scam, and I didn't realize I was part of it. And then I collapsed the whole thing. So yeah, it's kind of a.
Attaboy, you're a
Thanks.
hero.
Yeah.
Banana, have you ever worked a day in your life?
Yes, I actually had a couple college jobs, and
Really?
the first one wasn't terrible, but I think it's worth commenting on
Go
because
ahead.
I worked at like this antique store kind of thing where the guy he was American / he was half Filipino or from the Philippines.
Yes.
And he would go there like for 3 or 4 months a year and then bring stuff back, and he would sell it there. So everything was
with
ridiculously.
Was his name Indiana Jones?
No.
Okay. Continue.
So everything was ridiculously overpriced. So we had virtually no customers for like the first month I worked there.
Sure.
But after about 3 weeks in, he left for his trip to the Philippines that year, and I found out like 4 days later he died of a heart attack.
What?
Yeah, the guy that hired me just straight up died of a heart attack three weeks after.
Did you start running the business?
So what ended up happening was like within the next week or two, they decided, hey, we're clearing shop, we're gonna, sell everything and discount it all at 50%.
Oh my
And
God.
suddenly we went from 1 or 2 customers a day, pretty much, like during my shift, to like a packed store. All that had to happen was for the stuff to be reasonably priced. It was ridiculously overpriced.
Wow.
But the whole idea of what happened there just was a very interesting start to my career in the workforce.
Brian, I'm going to ask a question. You don't
Yeah.
have to answer it. Did you kill him?
Yeah.
Brian,
There's no proof of this.
can we get a camera on Brian? And I'm going to ask one more time, please. If we can zoom in on BSJ's face for just a moment so I can ask my question.
There we go.
Brian, did you kill him?
No.
He fucking killed him.
Did you see the smirk?
He didn't even move his face. Yo, I have a psychology degree. This guy fucking killed that.
Number one cashier in the
He's
antique shop.
laughing about it. Oh my God, he got away with it.
I went from $9 to $10 an hour. With that.
Yo,
Worth it.
yo, I'm terrified right now.
Like, you asked us a story about our worst jobs. Like, I got a man fired for corruption, and you killed a man. So,
Literally just killed
great
the guy.
question.
My goodness gracious. I was just going to share stories about Outback Steakhouse. What the hell? Anyway. My worst job was working for my father. He employed me to work illegally in construction.
Oh.
Yeah, he started his own playground business when I was 15 years old. He taught me the hard life of construction. I was pouring concrete, digging holes with a bobcat, working all day out in the sun. That's what grown men do. Fell in a hole one time. Nobody found me for quite some time. It was a great job because you build playgrounds for other children, and then you watch them play on them, and then father goes, "Get back in the car. We have more playgrounds to build." Let me drive away.
But you had the digger at least, right?
I did get to use the digger.
So you had the best playground equipment.
Yeah.
You got the real deal. All the kids
The
are playing
big
with
stuff.
their little
Yeah, exactly.
replicas, little toys.
So other than falling in the hole, it sounded pretty good.
Not good.
You think your father was just giving you the authentic experience? Is that what he was trying
I
to do?
was never paid. An entire summer, every day of grueling hours.
I had the same thing for my neighbor. He was like, "Yeah, I want some, help in the garden. You can come, lift up some rubble and stuff." So I went over and worked. And at the end of the day, he was like, "Here you go, man. Here's your solid pay." It was 50 pence or a pound. And I was like, "Oh,
Is that a lot?
no, not really.
What's a
It's-
pence?
It's like pennies.
It's a cent.
Pennies?
a pound,
cent.
so dollar something.
It's like
to the pound.
$1.3.
And I done 8 hours of manual labor.
What are you what is this, 1800s? Give me some money, old man.
I was 16 at the time. I was like, I'm gonna get some nice old money real quick. No, it's got 40, 20 quid. I don't mind. He was like, "Here you go, but." I'm
What the hell?
"Oh, right, cool. Thank you for that."
Jesus.
Yeah, I never worked for that guy again.
I had a similar story. I cut lawns to buy Kirby and the Crystal Shards for the N64.
Yeah.
For my whole neighborhood, I cut everybody's lawn. I went to one lady's house. Everything was cut. We had the bags of grass. And she tried to pay me $5. And I was like, I mowed your whole lawn. The price was 20.
Yeah.
She goes, well, 5 because I don't like your lines. And I said, well, okay. So I went and I took the grass and then I just dumped it out of the trash bags and put it back in. And I
like
went and
that.
bought Crystal Shards. Dope ass game, by the way. Great soundtrack. My boy Kirby. Great lore. You won't believe the Kirby lore, guys. It's nuts. Absolutely
I think
bonkers.
you've told me this before.
I think I have. You're one of the only people.
Yes.
Kirby lore is fucking crazy.
I'll research it after this panel. Don't
You
worry.
should.
I will.
It's dank.
I vaguely remember,
Yeah.
but I do remember the essence of how effed up it really was.
Characters die. Characters are non-existent. They're celestial world-creating beings. Kirby, when he eats something, he doesn't have a digestive system. It puts it into a pocket dimension where it's floating and trapped for all eternity within Kirby for him to grab their powers at will. And you just live there forever, never living or dying in a purgatory within Kirby.
That could be pretty tranquil though.
Could it be Tranquil?
Like, imagine if like the world's, going to shit, and then the Kirby comes
And
along
everyone
and goes.
jumps into Kirby. I'm pretty sure when he dies, the pocket dimension dies as
But,
well.
like, if he doesn't die, you could just create another world within Kirby.
Wow, what if Kirby eats himself? The pocket dimension becomes reality? Anyway, fantastic game one. We're rolling it for game two. I think Magnus sucks. Every game I see Magnus, he loses. And it's one of these things where I think pro players get stuck in this thing of everyone's picking Magnus, yet everyone's losing, and yet they still continue to pick Magnus. Are we going to see Magnus win a game?
So when a new patch comes out, right? So I said this in a previous panel where we didn't have tier 1 teams play. So the tier 2 teams had to find the meta themselves pretty much, right? Through playing their professional level pubs and then the initial games that they played. So that's where the meta kind of came. And in all patches, I feel like there's a couple heroes that always bait you into them, right? Like Magnus, in all patches, will go, wait, so in power, more damage, more farm. Right. It happens every patch. Like this hero feels good and eventually just falls off. Right now, he still is actually good, so we'll see him picked. But in the Immortal bracket, he might fall down the pecking order a little bit, but overall, he is pretty good.
I think the story of it is that in pubs, for the first week or two, it works. Maybe in scrims it works too, because people haven't played against Magnus in like 6 months. They forget, this is the concept of the hero, this is his play style, so he gets away with it. He gets away with this passive empower farm for 15 minutes. Suddenly we all have an extra item because we all have damage and cleave and that extra farm rate. But now it's a play style that's punishable. That's the thing, is if you compare it to Veno, Veno's playstyle really isn't punishable. You know what's going to happen, so it's rather static like the casters were saying. But if it's able to be pulled off, it's the one creating pressure. It's the one causing the tempo of the game to speed up in its favor. So as long as the laning stage works, Veno's going to be viable. Mag, on the other hand, has this window that's exploitable, and all these teams are learning how to exploit it. So on your note, I actually said something similar about a week ago where I said, I feel like everyone's first picking Mag, and it's losing.
The BSJ meta.
And I think it's because it's a hero that's only good later in the draft. You can't give it 5 heroes that are good against it and have it still function. So
it needs to be a gotcha pick.
So I think people are overvaluing it 100%. I would almost think it's a hero that more so belongs in the second round of bans. Like, it's not good enough the first round, but a lot of lineups don't necessarily want to deal with a mag later in the draft, so they're probably going to ban it second round. I think that's where it's going to transition to, but I'm not sure. I think these tier 2 teams are overvaluing it a bit too much.
I think as well, the other fact is the meta is 4 protect 1. That 1 can be aggressive if he wants to be. He can also just super hard farm. Like Magnus in that 4 isn't really that good, right? He doesn't want to take early fights. He himself wants to be kind of on the back foot farming. Now you only have 3. You're going to be outnumbered in these key fights. Like it can be a little bit janky, but I don't want to jump to conclusions too quickly based off of a Empire v Unique game.
Sure.
No, I've seen a lot of games that have this exact storyline where even though you have Empower, you theoretically farm faster because the mag is in that 4 that's making space for you. You don't have as much space.
Right.
So you're competing with this other hero. I always say, the guy that's empowered has less farm than the guy that's not empowered, which is not a winning recipe for mag lineups to take over. So I Spectre, on the other hand, it's a similar concept to Mag, and the reason why I think it's less punishable is because she contributes to the 4 from afar, and she's also pretty independent, so she doesn't need her teammates to help her all that much. And then you can just the recipe for success with Spectre is pick 4 heroes that run around the map.
Yep.
That's it. And they can be any heroes that do that. It tells you, it's kind of like Veno. This is the general game plan that's going to be happening, but the 4 heroes that do it with it could be anything, rather than with Mag, you kind of need a specific empowered target. You need more initiation, low cooldown stuff, because Mag doesn't provide that. You need 3 heroes to carry the burden of 4. And I'm going to stop talking because I'm tired of you two smirking and laughing.
No, we just enjoy your commentary.
Nodding and...
You're completely accurate, though. Everything that you said is they need specific heroes. I remember back in, Dream League Major 3 years ago, we were having the same conversations about Mag and PA. It's what does Mag do except for accelerate PA, who's such a specific hero that needs that acceleration? It's the same talk. It's just trolling all that. But what I did want to bring us to is this early Invoker pick. And Invoker seems to be a pretty big guy in this series, kind of the last pick for Empire last time. They want to make sure this doesn't get banned. Worth picking, though.
I think that's the exact reason right there. That last game, we saw Enkart on the Clockwork and Lightless on the Invoker. Both of them had pretty good performances for being able to be aggressive and play around their team. So why not just snap it up in that first phase if you want to?
I think, why not, though? I mean, Invoker's not someone you could pick early, BO3.
I don't like Invoker versus Spectre, because Spectre +1 at like 20 minutes in jumps you and kills you at like any moment. Like once she gets a Manta, you will die to a single high mobility stun plus Spectre.
That's if they can farm, right? We just saw how Empire played that first game. They were barreling down mid lane, forcing the fights. We've seen some Spectres who are a little bit crazy. You know?
I do think that crystallized Spectre performance, maybe 2 days ago, maybe it was yesterday, was one of the worst I've seen in a while.
Oof.
Like, they straight up tried to take fight. There's a situation where they tried to take fights when they couldn't, and the Spectre died like an extra 2 or 3 times before Manta, and suddenly at that point, the game's kind of just over. I think Spectre teams need to not get baited into fighting. Like, when you watched OG at TI8, like, I know it's like a different era, a different patch, but it was a Spectre patch. His hero's pretty much the same as it was then. They took their fights very selectively, and if you're ever behind, all you need is that one fight. So you can be very patient to get that one fight rather than like forcing that one fight to happen. So I think Spectre is much easier to pull off than Mag +1.
Yep.
You just push R at some point when the enemy team overextends and then boom. But I don't know. I like Invoker more so against carries like Jug that have to walk in than against carries like Spectre.
I can just see with Empire's bans right now, they've got Tiny, Kunkka. These heroes are really good against that aggression. Tiny himself can instantly just blow up one hero, and Kunkka is like the king of stand in front of tower and just make everyone feel stronger in any early fight. So you can see from these bans, Empire want to be on the aggressive. They want to just try and collapse the map like they did in that first game, try and just be as obnoxious as possible. They need to just round out the rest of their heroes with at least a tower hitter or at least an objective hitter, so they can pivot into towers or Roshan after their fights.
And I like the bans coming out from Unique as well. Faceless Void and Invoker combo, of course. You can let that go through. But the Lifestealer, too, pretty interesting. One of the only heroes that I think does okay against Phoenix.
And it's pretty good against Spectre.
Yeah, we saw it yesterday where they went Armlet Deso on the Lifestealer against the Spectre, and you could take all objectives, Roshan, plus if you ever jump the Spectre in a smoke gank, for example, he just blows up himself. You can go Silver Edge on any hero. Like,
sure.
It's pretty strong. So
Hey-oh!
That's
Hello,
for the
strange
Phoenix.
lady.
Wouldn't be surprised if that's a support Lina. 4 position potentially. 5 position clock. They did that last game, the 5 o'clock. They're obviously not going to pick Drow again, or at least I don't think they will when they have Spectre on the opponent team. But
yeah, that feels like you're asking to lose that one.
yeah, it's
Please,
likely they're going to get a range carry though. Maybe like a gyrocopter or something like that. When you have the clock paired with it, I think that a troll pseudo range carry. I think the anti-mage void matchups are more like, it just makes the game harder for them to play. Spectre doesn't like to be against anti-mage because it does pigeonhole her into the Manta Diffusal build, and you want options. It's not like that build sucks, but you want options. And then the Void, obviously, like you said, with the Invoker. So I think I like all the bans from Team Unique here, and I'm curious. Empire is going to have their pick of the lot of the tier 2 carry heroes.
Yeah.
None of the tier 1 ones are left.
And there's Rubik, who's quickly, in my opinion, becoming the kind of one of the sports of the tournament. We keep seeing this hero getting picked and succeeding over and over again. And again, I think it's because of this high tempo. These guys want to fight with big spells, and every time you get a meta forming like that, Rubik just seems to really perform well.
If you break the hero down in terms of like laning phase, he can secure range creeps. He can always be that like repellent with the telekinesis, aggressive as well in those early fights. He has low cooldown spells, plus, like you just said, the ability to take these spells. Like, overall, he's not really changed as a hero, right? Over all these years, like he's still the same fundamentals, and yeah, it's just so strong.
His meta lore has changed, though.
Oh,
And very sad. Agnum has shown himself, and clearly not Rubik's actual father. So this is a big mystery for the lore community. I mean, they don't look the same. Look at him. Look at that little freak. Does he have
don't know
4
what's
arms
underneath
and
that mask.
horns? Probably not
what if
4 horns.
What if he has like some tentacle stuff coming out like that you just can't see? Like it's
yeah.
it's
The
like
cape is cold, right?
Yeah, like those could just be extra tentacles.
Horns, they're not tentacles. If they were tentacles, we'd be having a different discussion. He also has 2 arms. Well, you can't hide arms.
Prosthetics.
Yeah.
That's adding arms, not hiding them.
Good point.
You stupid?
I am.
Slardar picked out over here.
He's stupid.
I think Legion's their pick naturally.
Legion.
Yeah, for Team Unique.
Why is
It's
that?
somewhat a way to defend your egg through dual or through BKB. It's also a save versus the Slardar. It's like a purge of the corrosive haze. Couldn't remember the name of it. Another way to start fights for the Spectre.
I think that could be fine. If they do pick that, I look forward to Invoker buying Ags, using Cataclysm on the Legion when he's dueling, and just watching the Legion die. That'd be great fun. No, I think any defensive offlaner, like BSJ said, is going to be really good. So Legion, a Centaur, something along these lines that can just play a strong lane with Rubik and just enable that 4. Because again, you have the Spectre, he can't do early fight, and you don't really have damage. When you have Phoenix, Rubik supports, they're enablers for your cores to be able to take the fight. They themselves don't suddenly do well.
TA?
Oh no.
What is this?
I hate TA this patch.
TA is
Why is that?
struggling.
I hate her so much.
Why is that?
I even made a video on it.
Oh, you
That's
did?
how much I hate her.
Wow. Is it because the jungle's invaded, or?
It's because your carry almost always retreats to the jungle.
Hmm.
So there's like this stage in the game where 8 to 15 minutes in, you have 2 cores jungling, and then you just lose all your towers.
That was
So like this isn't a meta unless your carry is like a super active hero, but that's usually not the case. And I would love to look up the stats, but I'm pretty sure in my pubs, the last pick TA with a hard farming carry, like Spectre, Anti-Mage, Void, is like 1 in 10. Like, it just does not win. It does not win. I want to see it play out differently, because there obviously are layers upon layers to a meta, right? And that's why we're going to see how it
Oh,
tests out.
sorry. I'm actually, Productions of my ear, they actually have a stats person that went and looked at your
My
pub
pubs,
games.
yes.
Yeah, and nobody cares. Nobody cares, is what the stats guy said.
Wow.
Interesting.
Those are conclusive results that I want to see how they really do play out.
No, but I would agree with you. And I honestly, with a Spectre, too?
I feel like it's griefing your carry. That's what I mean by, like, I was playing carry at the start of this patch predominantly, and I feel like every time I had a TA mid, I got griefed. Like, the map just looks incredibly difficult to play. It's like, who's pushing towers? Who's creating space on the map? Who's doing stuff?
But if TA does explode in the mid, you know, she's got a blink, she's got a deso. She herself is making space if she hard wins that. So to me, it's like, you know, one of those win and keep winning heroes, almost like an OD.
She is a Huskar right now. You have to stomp the lane and turn it into massive amount of momentum. If you die like once or twice, the game's pretty much over. Like, that's how I look at TA right now.
But, I mean...
It could happen, though. Like, if she gets that blink deso without dying and suddenly she's blowing up the supports, blowing up the Invoker, the game will just blow out of proportion really quick for Team Unique. But my gut feeling is just going to say that I hate TA picked with hard carries, so I'm going to go against Unique regardless of what this last pick for Team Fire is.
Are you for real?
It's upon principle at this point.
Okay. Yeah. What if they picked a, I don't know, an IO right now?
Yeah, I'm down. What's wrong with IO? IO's sick.
I mean,
they just don't have the Abaddon or Elder Titan with it, but Clockwork, you know, it's a melee 5.
All right, lads, let's not get carried away now.
I picked a Visage right now. Silence. All right. Can we talk a little bit about... Oh, weird.
I actually like that a lot. It's not great against Rubik, but it's incredibly independent. It rotates to the Slardar. They have a lot of active heroes to punish the passive nature of the mid game for Team Unique. It is kind of similar to last game, where if they do slip up and give away map control, I think it'll be impossible for Team Unique to give it back, unlike the first game.
Well, our odds provider EGB, not fooled by that first game. They said it was a fluke. We're going to see pretty similar odds. This, well, you know, Team Empire doesn't have a 3x payout this time. What do you think about that, T-Gov?
Yeah, I think I share the same concerns about the farm needed for Spectre, TA, and even Pangolier to have a good game.
Pangolier's a greedy one, too.
In terms of laning phase, Pangolier is quite a weak laner, so it's going to amplify this Weaver Clock combo. And also, Slardar very strong lane into the Spectre. So I'm not going to see a lot of lanes being won outside his TA. So a lot of pressure on TA to somehow get this early timing and start dictating the tempo. But their draft eventually does come back around, where they're going to have Spectre plus Phoenix, etc., etc. But I think Team Empire, after they played that first game, how aggressive they were, trying to take that aggressive foothold in the Tricamp, I think they're going to do pretty well again. So Empire have, got my backing.
Yeah, their lanes are greedy, and they have no save for Clockwork Slardar jumping you, so I don't know. I think they're going to get ran out real hard.
That is pretty rough indeed, but it could go either way. We saw quite the battle last time. A lot of fights, some little mistakes, but you know what's not a mistake? Our person who hired talent. they went ahead and hired 2 of the greatest casters that you will ever see here. And one of those people was he hired himself, actually. So there you go. It's Cap and Swindles.
Yeah, how did you get this job, Kyle? Was it a rigorous hiring process?
It was a meritocracy, yes. That we had auditions, there were tryouts, and I was deemed to be worthy.
Well done. You hold yourself in very high esteem,
Of course. I would never just accept a job because of some sort of personal connection or nepotism.
And that is what ruins a talent scene.
I would agree.
Let's get into game 2, shall we? Of Empire versus Unique, where our analysts pretty doom and gloom about Unique's chances. Especially BSJ hating on the Templar Assassin. I don't disagree with his logic of why.
I think that's just a product of our panelists. Though if I were Sir Action Slacks, I'd also think that I was doomed. Unique, however, certainly in a good position. Phoenix plus Spectre. I understand Brian's reservations about the TA. I just think their draft is so strong on paper. You think about their team fighting. They have so much chaos they can create, where Empire, it just feels like it's a lot of single target, and it's a much more difficult draft to execute.
Okay, so my question is, I also love the Spectre Phoenix. I was like, we both saw, you said, oh, Unique's going to win. When you saw that opening, I totally agreed with you. I was like, these heroes are way too strong right now.
But
why? Why did they go the TA? Because they could have picked themselves a wealth of mids that offer disables.
Yeah.
They chose one that doesn't offer a single disable in that regard.
They might have been expecting like a Lina core, but I think after the Invoker clock, Lina first 3, right? You know either Lina or Invoker is going mid, and TA crushes both. So I gotta imagine they felt like the matchup was going to be excellent, and because you have a Spectre, you wanted more of a mid-game team fighter as well. Gives them Roche. I think Dire TA is always nice just because you can control that pit so easily, and it's also much easier to play enemy ancient camps. You just play that top triangle. I think the matchup, like you just dumpster Quaswex Invoker. This is a very difficult matchup.
That was something that they had, or maybe that was actually something I guess Empire took advantage of, right? Because they were always invading, and they had the Drow Ranger who was able to farm the enemy ancients, which was nice to be able to have. But yeah, I guess it's all going to break down to this laning phase. 19 has to be able to prove that this pick was correct, because I imagine he was the one who asked for it, seeing as it's slightly off meta.
I actually don't know if it's that bad anymore. They've buffed Quaswex HP regen since last time I was a mid player. So TA, the Psyblade harass can get annoying, but ultimately Invoker is better suited than most heroes to heal through it. So perhaps it's closer than I expected. This bottom lane is definitely a bit interesting, though. You'd favor the Weaver clock, but with that Sentry Ward, it's very useful, and it's necessary to outlane a Weaver. Very low HP, so if you're able to hit him through Invis, it's quite nice.
Yeah, I know I'm always, like, if I have a decent 4 position, I'm always kind of okay with the Pango versus Weaver matchup, just because he's such a right-click heavy hero.
Yeah.
The lucky shot feels incredible when you're able to get it off anyway. And Rubik's easily one of the best, even with the change on Fade Bolt, just making it do percentage so it does less in the laning phase. Still incredibly powerful. One of the best that you could ask for. And then our top lane is going to be the Slardar Lina, which I think everyone kind of expected.
Yeah.
Lina pretty much purely picked to be a Phoenix counter, right?
Yeah, I would assume so. And we saw Cheshire Cat, another ex-Power Rangers player, go off yesterday on Slardar. It'll be interesting to see if Shocklow can repeat his success. He certainly will need to be a brute in this game for Empire to take it, because somebody's got to be willing to run in and try and get on top of that TA.
Well,
that's a free first blood.
Certainly running in.
He's not quite as powerful yet as he was in the previous game.
No. Hopefully we won't see that that sort of aggression that he displayed in Game 1 has 2 sides to the coin. I'd like to see a repeat performance by him because it was so good.
I don't know if Lina, I think, had an undefeated win rate for some time. I'm sure it's lost by now, but a very high win rate so far throughout the qualifiers and the little bit we've played thus far of our main event.
Yeah, I was... Lina was still near the top on win rates from just this week. was rivaling like Clockwork, who's another hero that has an exceptionally high win rate given how often he's picked. One of the most popular heroes of this patch and holds like, well, I think over 60% win rate. I like this top lane though because it is so pressure heavy against the Spectre. It feels like Spectre when I like the Spectre that I'm seeing now because the HP regen that you have base now is so high. It's actually really hard to pressure this hero out of lane. But Slardar Lina, there is no lack for damage in that lane whatsoever.
No, definitely not.
And I imagine they should be able to win it. And you can see the Slardar is top CS right now.
It's probably my favorite offlaner to go against Spectre nowadays. LC maybe slightly ahead, but I think both are adequate. Nice entry from Eknard. You gotta want to make sure that your Weaver's free to play this lane. If you get lifted during Shikuchi, it can be very bad for you.
Yeah, especially those early levels of Shikuchi with the longer cooldown. Trying to go for the 4-minute rune,
but he guessed wrong.
Instead.
Okay, it's fine. Lina's going to camp it for him, but that's exactly what I'm talking about. How frustrating is it to effectively just play better, but guess wrong, so your enemy were to just swipe a free regen or something?
Yeah.
Doesn't seem very fair. Should reward someone for camping runes. Thank you.
Illusion. That man's dead. Isn't that the whole thing, though? If it's a team game, get your supports involved, so make it so RNG is less of a factor.
But that's still just not feasible. Like camping, having control of both runes every spawn is difficult. Like that requires more resources. You can, even if you bring 2 heroes, perhaps